Somewhere beyond the recesses of time and space, two podcasters are set adrift in a machine, picking up transmissions of movies that are forgotten but not gone.
Welcome to Movie Memory Machine, the only podcast about forgotten movies that says maybe she's just not that into you.
Ooh.
I am your host, Landen Solano, joined always by my co-host, Truman Caps. Truman, it's good to see you.
Landen, I am just so into being seen, and I hope that nothing I'm doing is making you have to doubt or question that.
Okay, I usually have a little pithy question to ask you to start these episodes.
Almost always, in fact.
I'm gonna give you the choice. Now, you know what? I'm gonna give you the illusion of choice.
Oh. The deepest guy in your 11th grade philosophy class.
Do you want to talk about sparks, or do you want to talk about signs?
I'm gonna say signs, because we've already talked about Nicholas Sparks on this show.
And we might again.
And we might talk about the movie Signs. Have people forgotten it? Kind of
No,
not.
I don't think they have.
No, I guess no. It doesn't fit our format.
How do you feel about romantic signs? And let me be specific. You know, we here live in the real world, and I'm not talking about signs from fate that you need to be together. You know, not the Empire State Building shining a big heart because it's Valentine's Day at the moment you realize you love someone. I'm talking about sociological behavioral signs between two people on a date, or not even on a date.
Just catching vibes in the environment, even.
Yeah, vibes, signs. How do you feel about them?
How do I feel? That's sort of a broad subject and a broad question about it. I mean, I feel like they're a real thing, and I feel like catching a sign from somebody that they are interested in you if it's not a date, or if a date is going well, and catching a sign that the other person is enjoying themselves and that you're on a roll. It's a really beautiful thing. It almost matches the emotional highs of podcasting.
Okay, this veered, I think, a little bit, and maybe it was on me here. I don't necessarily mean nonverbal communication, which is clearly more, how we communicate than actually speaking. I'm speaking like the idea of saying, I'm going to call you tomorrow. Is that a sign that I like you?
But then you ask me a direct question and I first misinterpret it, and now I'm trying to weasel out of the question. In this day and age, someone saying, I'm going to call you tomorrow, it's like, why? Why would you not just text me?
Okay.
Are you
I'm going to text you tomorrow.
Okay, I'm going to text you tomorrow.
I'm going to text you tomorrow.
What do I think of that? I guess that's a sweet thing to do. You could also just text me, and then I'd find out that you were gonna text me. So like, I guess if it's in terms of at the end of a date and trying to get some sense of what's gonna happen next and get some certainty, maybe it's just because I've been out of the pool for a while, but I almost feel like, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe give everybody a minute to consider how the date went and really sit with it on their own before they make any sort of commitments to reaching out the next day.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, and I think that opens a door into today's episode, and the many topics today's episode is going to touch upon.
This episode will touch on many loosely connected topics, and it will also be probably too long, much like the movie we're discussing.
Okay, here's what I want to do. I want to acknowledge, right out the gate, that it's possible we might float into Boat Boys territory.
Okay. We have to promise not to. I will sink this fucking boat.
Okay. Hold on. We're not done yet. I want to acknowledge that it's possible that we might be broadcasting waves of Pete the Cameraman in this episode.
Oh, man. Does your opinion of Ed Burns' character from Life or Something Like It maybe escalate? Do you hold him in higher esteem now that you've seen some real on-screen douchebags?
However, what I want to do between you and me, Truman, here for our listeners,
a lot of relationship stuff today.
This movie doesn't do, and the book definitely doesn't do. I want to advocate for us to communicate and I want to speak our feelings and experience rather than just trying to pick up on our signals and vibes.
Okay. Sure. I think I think that is an admirable way to go about it. I think we've traditionally been pretty good at that, even if maybe sometimes we tend to trend towards agreeing with each other on everything rather than just sitting in the disagreement over an issue. No, I guess we've gotten feistier. Carrie really turned us against each other.
So I just want to acknowledge that that's essentially what you said in response to the signals question, is like, let's just take a second, think about it, and communicate with each other.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple days to think about this movie, and I've had a couple days to be furiously typing notes into a Google document that at times resembles a manifesto.
Oh, this is potentially going to be our messiest episode ever.
I don't know, man. Stiff competition, though.
This episode made me realize something. There is a saturation point with research.
Yeah.
In which you go too far. I learned it on the Barnyard episode.
That was the one. I learned it on
this episode.
That was the one that did it. Not any of the historical topics that our movies have touched on. No, Barnyard, you went too far into research.
Because I went so far into research on that, I thought we were discussing Animal Farm and not Barnyard.
You went so far into research that you were out in a pasture interviewing local Wisconsin cows to get their take on the movie.
For this episode, I have read the book. I have watched the episode of Sex and the City that this is based on. I watched this movie 2 times. I reviewed Neil Strauss's The Game. That's going to come up. And there's a point where I lost track of what is it that I'm commenting on here anymore. So
yeah, I think I've already
I'm ready to refocus.
Too. Yeah. Let's get back to it. I'm great. Here I thought that I was over prepared. I merely have a lot of thoughts about the actual movie and the stuff going on inside of it. So
I'm gonna look to you for direction.
You can handle the rest of the entire universe.
But we watched a movie. The machine has made us watch the movie He's Just Not That Into You from 2009. Truman, can you weave a tapestry of interconnected stories into a single synopsis?
Yeah, and put on a pot of coffee because it's going to take a minute. He's Just Not That Into You follows several loosely connected straight white people in Baltimore as they try to make sense of modern dating and relationships. The neurotic Gigi, played by Ginnifer Goodwin, struggles to get men to commit to a second date with her, and turns to suave, crass bartender and ladies' man Alex, played by Justin Long, for advice. Alex's friend Connor, played by Kevin Connolly, is a real estate agent who spends his days selling condos to upwardly mobile gay men, and his nights pining over his friend with benefits Anna, played by Scarlett Johansson, an aspiring musician who has recently stopped sleeping with him. Instead, Anna is pursuing a relationship with record executive Ben, played by Bradley Cooper, who returns her affections, even though he's married to magazine writer Janine, played by Academy Award winner Ginnifer Connelly.
Okay, all right.
Ben's best friend Neil, played by Ben Affleck, has been dating his girlfriend Beth, played by Jennifer Aniston, for 7 years, but she breaks up with him when he refuses to marry her, forcing her to endure the indignities of single life once again. Anna's friend Mary, played by Drew Barrymore, is unable to meet a man at work because all of her coworkers are gay, so instead she turns to a high-tech solution and tries to meet a man on MySpace. End of very long synopsis.
All right, I have a suggestion on how we get through this movie once we get to that section, but let's just take a second.
Okay.
We got to go through the cast. You went through the cast.
I went through
We're
the
not
cast.
Go through the cast.
I talked about the
cast. The cast is long. Yes, of course.
Yes. The cast is fine, also. Just a lot of good-looking people in this cast.
Let's talk about the crew for a minute.
Yeah. Well, a lot of good-looking people in this crew, I presume.
I'm not going to comment on that. The director is Ken Kwapis, who you may know from a little movie called Vibes.
Oh, I do know him from Vibes, a movie that I am very into. The Jeff Goldblum, Cyndi Lauper, Peter Falk vehicle that haunts my dreams in a good way. I'm also looking at a picture of Ken Kwapis right now. He's all right. He's fine looking. I'm not going to review the appearance of all the other crew members because that could get weird.
Let's just put a pin in that. This is written by Abby Cohn and Mark Silverstein, based on the book by Greg Behrendt and Liz Tuccillo. I also want to point out, I think, the costume designer of this one, Shay Cunliffe, because, well, we'll return to that. I want to talk about costumes later in this episode.
Yeah, and maybe we should also talk for just an extra second about the writers of this movie. Abby Cohn and Mark Silverstein, they are a writing duo. All of their movies they've written together. In 1999, they wrote the movie Never Been Kissed, which is the first of some collaborations with Drew Barrymore.
Definitely a memorable film.
Certainly. 10 years later, this movie, He's Just Not That Into You. Then, right afterwards, Valentine's Day in 2010. The Vow in 2012, also a romantic comedy. How to Be Single in 2016. Followed by their most recent film, I Feel Pretty, with which they also
Amy
directed.
Schumer.
Yes, with Amy Schumer. So they are
controversial. It's a controversial movie.
Yeah, as I think would be this one if more people remembered it. I just romantic comedies, their bread and butter. This is them in their world, in their milieu.
Okay, we're gonna return to the romantic comedy genre conversation in a little bit, but let's talk about some box office stats first, shall we?
Let's.
This movie was released just in time for Valentine's Day 2009 on February 6th.
Beautiful, perfect time for it.
By Warner Brothers Pictures. Do you want to guess the production budget?
Oh, man.
With this many stars, how many dollars per star do you think is being put into it?
I don't know, but they had to spend so much on the beautiful and immaculate production design. I mean, gosh, don't you just feel like every set, every location so lived in, so rich, so textured?
It is it's the nadir of this movie for sure.
Is this a $50 million situation for budget?
Wow, pretty dang close. I'd say within a $10 million margin of error, that's pretty damn good. It's $40 million.
Okay. Wow, all right. I mean, that I guess with that many stars, I mean, that basically pays everybody's appearance fee, and you got $15 left over for craft services.
Well, here's the thing. I think this is at the forefront of these huge ensemble pieces that I think even break out of romantic comedy into the Marvel universe at a certain point, where I feel like they are still figuring out the equation of how do we get these stars, meaning, we have to adjust the production schedule so that we can get them in and out as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And pay them a reasonable fee. And keep it under $100 million so that we can recoup some expense here. The equation, I think, is okay, as we've talked before, we will put half the marketing budget into a movie that's $40 million. I think here they're going, okay, we got Ginnifer Aniston for, 1 week for $1 million, blah, blah, blah. We can keep it at $40 million that way. However, let's put in the full $40 million into the marketing of this because we've got so many stars. They're going to put more into marketing a movie that has this many stars than a $40 million, romantic comedy that only has 2.
Yeah. That makes sense. You kind of are putting all of your star power in one basket under the assumption that all of them are going to draw from their own fan bases.
Yeah.
Would you say that this is really at the forefront, or would you say that Love Actually is at the forefront of this kind of movie, and this is some flotsam and jetsam floating in its wake?
I struggle with this a lot, and I've been working on a project about slasher films for a long, long time, and if you allow me the analogy, because I actually want to return to horror movies and action films later, but there's Halloween, right? Now, Halloween is the movie that kind of popularizes and congeals all of the elements that we know of as the slasher film.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw came out 4 years before it.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same, but a lot of the elements are there. Halloween gets all of the credit. Now, I'm of the camp, pun intended, that Friday the 13th, which came out 2 years after Halloween, is actually more important because it makes it the pattern. It's not just the one film. It's the, okay, this is a viable money-making machine thing.
Yeah.
So the fact that Love Actually is British, it came out 5 years before this.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough of like it's like that Texas Chainsaw to Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
There's elements of it, and it is probably looked at as a template, but it's a little bit outside the cycle.
I just feel like the Love Actually is the only ensemble interconnected stories romantic comedy 2.5 hours long movie that has actually been a smash hit, made a bunch of money. Like all of the other attempts that they've made, your Valentine's Day,
Those all come in the cycle though.
Yeah, they all come in the cycle, but I mean, I guess it's just they've never been able to replicate that formula. With the slashers, they were like, oh, we've kind of found a way to make a shit ton of money off of this. Whereas here, they just kind of tried for a while, for like 5 to 10 years, and then we're like, okay, we can't get any more blood out of that stone. Let's do this, but with Marvel movies instead.
And action films, if you look at the Expendables movies.
True. Blood, actually.
Let's earmark that and come back to it when we look at the actual gross of this movie.
Yes, this movie is gross.
With a $40 million budget, and we're estimating a $40 million marketing budget, with this cast, how many theaters do you put this in?
I mean, I would go big as opposed to going home. I'd do 3,000 theaters, I'd say, for 2009.
Okay. Again, within a 200 margin of error, you're coming in at 3175.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's Valentine's Day, and you've got the lady from Friends, and you've got Ben Affleck from whatever thing he was in. I know her name's Ginnifer Aniston. Yeah. I'm just saying she's like, you know, you've got huge names that people really like, and you're probably making a play for, you know, try and get some guys to come see this movie too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree with you. I think that's very smart marketing. You could be an executive, Truman.
That is the most cutting and brutal thing anyone has ever said to me.
Well, okay. This was approximately in theaters for about 6 to 7 weeks. Do you want to take a look at the top 10 of its opening weekend? The top 5. Let's do top 5.
Yeah, let's blaze through the top 5 because we have a lot to discuss, but I do want to know what was competing.
We do. All right. He's Just Not That Into You comes in at number 1.
Good for them, I guess.
Wow. No hard feelings whatsoever. Coming in at number 2 in its second week, I Have a Special Set of Skills.
Oh my God, Taken.
Staying in theaters.
Oh wait.
2 weeks.
Okay, this is week 2 at number 2 for Taken. That's good. Okay, that you want to talk about the first in a money-making formula for actors, male actors over the age of like 50. Oof. Anyway.
Yeah. In its first week, coming in at number 3 is Coraline.
Oh, okay. Good for. That's Leica, correct?
Is it? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Neil Gaiman, Henry Selick.
Yeah. So some of them we like more than others.
I'm not sure if Leica does that one or not.
Yeah. Well, who can say? What's number 4?
Coming in at number 4. Number four is probably a forgotten film. Did you know they made a sequel to the Steve Martin Pink Panther movie?
Oh no. And did they call it Return of the Pink Panther?
No, they gave it the much more original title, The Pink Panther 2.
Oh, cool. Wait, did Steve Martin come back for that?
Yes.
Oh,
and
honey.
Kevin Kline.
Well, hey, Mr. Martin, I hope you bought a new Edward Hopper painting with that. I would love to see it sometime.
And then coming in at number 5 in its 4th week, Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Mall Blart Paul Cop. A movie that will never be forgotten. We will never touch that one. People are going to be talking about Paul Blart Mall Cop long after they've forgotten Love Actually.
All right, so do you have any guesses, like as far as like the gross of this thing? Do you think it makes money?
I do think it makes money. I think it makes probably a regrettable amount of money. Probably, yeah. I don't know, like over $100 million.
Okay. Domestically, it makes $93.9 million.
Okay.
Internationally, $84.9 for a total of $179 million.
I mean, yeah, like, It's okay. I guess, like, yes, it sucks that this movie, which I think is quite terrible, made this much money. But terrible movies make lots of money all the time, and I would be somehow more offended if I don't know, if Reminiscence had made this kind of money, despite being, like, such nonsense. Like, it makes sense why people went to see this movie. You got to do something on Valentine's Day. It's got good-looking people smooching. Like,
there's a built-in audience for the genre.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm not shocked. I'm not appalled.
You're not appalled. Are you a Paul Blart?
No. I am not. I think only because I don't have the balance for one of those scooters.
Well, speaking of segues, have you seen this movie before?
Holy shit. Whoa, you said this was going to be a messy episode. Oh, that is brilliant. That is such a good segue that I'm going to step all over it. I had not seen this movie before.
Okay.
It is not really my demographic. At the time that it came out, I actually, mysteriously, this was one of the few times in my life before the past 8 years where I did have a steady girlfriend, but we did not go see this for Valentine's Day.
Okay.
So I've not seen it. I've just been very familiar with the title of this movie. A lot to be said about that. What about you?
I had seen this movie.
Hello. Who's the lucky lady?
Me. I'm the lucky lady.
Good for you. Take yourself out on a date, man. You deserve it.
You know, I'm not discerning when it comes to genre. I have my preferences, but they ebb and flow. They change. And there was a time when I was like, listen, let's take a step back in time, in our time machine that we have here, and realize that romantic comedies and comedies in general weren't relegated to kind of shitty streamer content.
Yeah, of course.
There was a time when you could go to the movie theater and laugh at something.
Yeah.
That sounds like old man, I realize, but
there was a time when you could be in a romantic comedy and get nominated for an Academy Award for it. I want to be clear. I like romantic comedies. I am all about going to see a romantic comedy. If I were in 2009 going to go see a romantic comedy, I still doubt that I would have picked this one, which got bad reviews and looked bad.
Yeah, and that's fair. I think the circumstances in which I saw it was probably like, being on a romantic comedy kick. Again, this is Netflix with the discs era, so it was probably just a quick, easy click of like, oh, that's new, and I'll put that on my TV stand for a month and maybe watch it, maybe not, and ended up watching it.
Was it a pizza movie?
Could quite well have been. I haven't had pizza in almost 5 years, so it's hard to remember what was pizza movie and what wasn't pizza movie.
Those years are a blend of marinara and cheese. What did you think of it when you saw it?
I have no memory of my feelings of this movie at all.
Mm-hmm.
None. I have none. I couldn't. I could tell you a few things that happened in it, but I couldn't tell you my impression of it. Not even a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If you had asked me 1 week ago before we watched this for this episode, I wouldn't be able to give you a guess as to how I would feel about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now I have very complicated feelings.
Oh boy. Well, it's good to know that you had complicated feelings about this movie, because actually, when I was watching it, I ran into someone else who had some complicated feelings because of this movie, as a result of this movie, about this movie. And
you ran into them like you were walking around holding like an old disc player, like just with the screen, and you plop the DVD into the palm of your hand like a Discman? Yeah,
I had the disc player in one hand, and I had a big cup of coffee in the other, and we bumped into each other, and I spilled my coffee all over, but then we made eye contact, and everything clicked. So anyway, we're going to do something unprecedented and go to a quick interview segment right now. All right, welcome to Movie Memory Machine Woman Corner, where we ask the nearest woman what she thinks about things. Would you like to state your name for the record?
First and last?
Yeah, if you want to. Do you want? How tied to this do you want to be?
My name is Kirsty Jeffries, and I am Truman's girlfriend.
Oh, thank you for admitting to that live on air. I appreciate it. So the other night, I was watching the film He's Just Not That Into You, and you came in and saw that I was watching the film He's Just Not That Into You, and you said, oh, this movie's really bad. And I agree with you that it is a really bad movie, but I'm interested to know why you think it's bad and what your history with the movie is.
I think I said I hate this movie. And truth be told, I don't really remember the movie all that well. In my mind, it blurs together with movies like Valentine's Day and New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I don't know, whatever that movie's called.
It's New Year's Eve. The people who wrote this movie wrote Valentine's Day 1 year after, so it makes sense it would blur together for you.
Okay, well, that makes sense. It's all those movies that are kind of, Love Actually did this great, so let's do the same thing but worse.
Yeah, exactly.
So I remembered it was that kind of movie, I remembered it had a big cast, and I know that I saw it at the time, but I could not tell you anything that happened in the movie.
But you alluded to the fact that the title of the movie is kind of stuck with you and had lasting impact, and would you say did that contribute to why you hate the movie?
Yes, definitely. I feel like it was very much in the zeitgeist in the late 2000s, early 2010s. It was a phrase that was being thrown around a lot in those days, at least in my corner of the internet. And I feel like it was a thing that women were saying to each other a lot. I guess I was 19, almost 20 when the movie came out. And I feel like that is a very difficult age to be a straight woman. So I feel like I would just hear people use that phrase a lot, or read people use that phrase a lot online as kind of like a mantra to remind women that the guy they were into was not that into them. And it was definitely a phrase that got stuck in my head that I think I said to myself many, many times. It's just like a framework for thinking about dating that I think is very toxic and dangerous for a young woman who has not really learned how to respect herself in a relationship, because I think it really puts the blame on the woman for being not desirable enough rather than putting the blame on the man for maybe not treating her well. If a relationship wasn't going great, instead of thinking of it like, oh, he's not treating me with the respect I deserve and I should have a conversation with him about how he should be more respectful to me, it kind of flips it around and just makes it like, oh, I guess I'm not good enough for him, so I shouldn't even ask anything from him because he's just not that into me.
Yeah, it's about basically don't try to advocate for yourself. Just fall back on this notion that, oh, he doesn't like me, therefore that's why he's treating me that way, and just accept this sort of behavior.
Yeah, and I have no recollection if that's what the movie's actually about. I feel like it is, but my guess is as good. Well, my guess is worse than yours because you actually watched the movie again.
Your guesses are usually better than mine because you're smarter. The movie presents itself as kind of trying to put a revolutionary idea out there. Like, it starts out with the main character as a young girl is, shoved to the ground by a boy, and her mom tells her, oh, the reason the boys are being mean to you is because they secretly like you. And the whole movie is being presented as like, no, the reason that boys treat you badly is because they're just not that into you. So the movie is acting like it's trying to bring a fresh new perspective.
Wait, sorry. So it decided, what would be empowering for women is if we told them that actually men don't like you and you're not that great and not that attractive. Because the idea of like telling a little girl that a boy is mean to you because he likes you is dangerous in its own ways.
Yes.
And so they were like, instead of fixing that by saying, no, actually, if a boy is mean to you, you should probably stand up for yourself. They're saying, if he's being mean to you, it's because you deserve it.
It seems like, yes, they've taken one toxic idea and replaced it seamlessly with a new toxic idea.
Okay, so I guess that is exactly how it made me feel, just having that phrase tossed around a lot at that time. So that's not great. Like, it's not that it's a problem if a guy is not into you. Like, that's okay. You're not going to be into everyone. Not everyone's going to be into you. It's the idea that the reason you're having issues in your relationship is because he's not that into you, and not because he's immature or doesn't know how to communicate, or that maybe you don't know how to communicate, or like it kind of just, it makes it seem like, well, if something's going wrong, it's because I suck and this person isn't into me, and that's that. It doesn't really like encourage you to try to have a conversation or to figure out if maybe that person is just as wrong for you as you are for them, or maybe that person is really, really into you, but they just have their own blind spots or their own issues that they need to work out, and you need to figure that out together. It kind of boils every relationship problem down into like, you're not desirable, and that's it. I think that if you are a person of any gender and you are dating any gender and you are young and impressionable and pretty new to dating, if you feel like someone is not treating you the way you deserve, don't just assume it's because they're just not that into you and that there's something wrong with you, because I mean, there could be something wrong with you and they may just not be that into you, but have a conversation with this person, and maybe you're just not that into them because they are not someone who deserves your love and respect.
Kirsty, it is so weird to call you your name to your face, but thank you for coming on our dumb little podcast to share your opinions, which I value.
Is the fact that I don't get to come in your time machine because you're just not that into me?
No, it's because I love and respect you, and also it smells crazy in there. Landon and I have really been stewing in that place.
Well, I do find that very interesting for reasons that I'll get into in a minute, but having the female perspective on this is clearly something I don't have, but yeah. I have empathetic feelings about it. So to just have those kind of fears when I watched it validated, what prompted you to actually sit down and get her thoughts?
Partially it's a recognition that we weren't really the target demographic for this movie, and I don't think that it was flying around as much for us. So, and she felt so strongly about it just seeing the name on the screen that it's like, okay, clearly there's a deeper story here. I feel like also the title kind of lived rent-free in my head a little bit too. Like, definitely I think not to the same degree because there's a lot more gendered stuff going on with that. But when I was dating, like, I would hear that kind of in the conversation from guys too, and it was just happening online, and it does, like, that framework of just looking at it in terms of like, the reason this girl I have a crush on doesn't like me is because there's something wrong with me, like she's just not that into you. And it's this thing of then like there was a unpleasant period in my life where I was very hung up on a woman I knew, and she did not like me, and I was constantly self-critical of every single thing I did, thinking, would she like me more if I was doing this differently? Is the thing she doesn't like about me this thing? Instead of just thinking, okay, this person doesn't like me, fuck that, I guess I'll just go, have my own life and no judgments, but I should just, find someone who does like me. So, I think that the message here, it does extra damage. It does bonus damage to women because of a lot of like societal factors, but I think it's kind of just a damaging message overall.
Yeah, agreed. And, I'm curious, acknowledging that it kind of deviates from the general thesis of the book and the movie, your experience. Like, if I can probe that for just a minute. What societal things led you to have that kind of point of view about yourself in that situation?
I mean, I think it was just a perception of what a cool guy was. What's a cool and desirable man who women want to be with? Well, it's not a guy who has been in a marching band for 8 years of his life. It's not a guy who, wears graphic T-shirts that are too large. It's not a guy who will go on to host a over-researched podcast about movies, just all these things about like that's not the kind of guy who gets laid, basically. And it's like, then that kind of guy's worse. Where does that come from?
That's kind of what I'm getting to. Is like, there's not one source for these things. It's kind of an amalgamation of seeing these meta messages in TV shows, and it's these books that take a pop sociological behavioral science sort of viewpoint just to get into the zeitgeist, that are setting the template of it. Someone speaking from expertise, yet maybe not having literally any, backing for why they're an expert, just staking claim. And I think that's true. It is incredibly damaging. In this book, he's just not that into you. Folks, I have it here. I have a visual aid.
He's got it. He's on so many library watch lists.
In fact, now listen, Truman, I'm on record. I still don't understand what ASMR is.
Yeah,
but
you don't.
I can't avoid the fact that this might be a little ASMR-y because this is a library book that has the kind of cellophane cover. Listen, folks, just listen.
Just anything for the metrics, huh?
You hear the here. I'm gonna open it again. Okay. Now, am I supposed to say something sexual here?
Well, I think you're confusing what ASMR is with other types of content, but okay.
Oh, don't you like that? I'm sitting next to you in bed, flipping a book and touching the cellophane.
Wait. Okay, I'm sorry. Take me deeper into the fantasy. Not only is it that you're in bed with who is this voice, but he's not even doing anything to you. He's just reading.
Wait, listen. This might be my fantasy. Don't shame me.
Oh, baby, tonight's the night I'm finally gonna finish that Napoleon biography I've been reading.
Okay. This. Where do we start, Truman? I have so much to say about this book. I have so much to say about Greg Behrendt. I have so much to say about the movie. Where do we go? How do we do this?
Let me ask you a question about the book first.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I've been waiting.
Yes, okay, good. Is the book a narrative story like this one, or is the book a self-help book?
Okay. Truman. I wish I had earmarked this. I'm going to try to find it on the fly. It is not a narrative book.
Mm-hmm.
This is, and it says it in the preface, this is a book of conversations. Written kind of Dear Abby style. So, we have under the section, he's so into me that now he's not excuse. That's the section heading. And then it starts, Dear Greg, I've been dating a guy for a month, ... Then it presents this letter.
Yeah.
Then we have from the desk of Greg, Dear
What?
Just Cuddling, a month? Are you freaking kidding me? So then a response to the letter, followed by a not a narrative, but a kind of written explanation of what his response to the letter was.
Okay.
But here's the thing, Truman. Here's the fucking thing.
Okay,
Truman.
Easy now. Not too mad.
In this preface, he specifically says that these are not real letters. These are not real conversations. They are based on conversations that he claims to have had.
Oh, Landon, I'm sorry for ever roasting you about half-remembered stories from the Sundance Film Festival in 2004. At least you didn't turn them into an entire book that launched a million anxiety disorders. So
Yes.
So here's some conversations that I made up.
Yeah.
And I get a book deal out of that, followed by a movie.
This is the equivalent of feeling rejected or angry and pacing your bedroom, having imaginary conversations in your head.
My favorite pastime, and I win all of those arguments.
Truman, you can write a book about arguing with Reagan.
Yes, I could. Your state senator is just not that into you. Your city councilman is just not that into you. There's a fortune to be made. The problem is that the only person who really needs to read those books is me, so it's kind of eating its own tail there. So
Yes.
Okay. So what you're saying here is that the movie, they're like, by optioning this book, they're basically just optioning the title.
It's weird. It's okay. Oh my God. This is going to be a pretzel episode. I apologize.
And these pretzels are making me thirsty. Let me actually clarify that first. Does the phrase "he's just not that into you" appear in the text of the book?
If you were to do a word bubble, "he's just not that into you" would be eclipsing the screen to words like "the" and. It's literally how he ends every single thing. Like, okay, watch, Truman. We're gonna do a little experiment here.
Okay.
I need you to watch me.
Okay,
I need you to watch
watching.
me.
I'm
gonna
always
flip
watching.
through. Am I looking at a specific page? Do I know what page I'm gonna stop at?
No, he's just choosing
Okay.
randomly. Okay.
Just random page, right?
Yeah, looking.
So we've got the question written in.
Yeah.
Under the title, "Things are really tight right now," making the excuse that he can't afford to date you.
Yeah.
He gives the answer, right? Blah, 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 blah. He ends it by saying, because he calls her Miss Pressure Cooker, Mr. Dow Jones is, her boyfriend, essentially.
Stupid.
you might want to take this stock tip. Mr. Dow Jones is just not that into you.
Okay, Landon, I'm gonna issue the first of my hot takes.
Okay.
I am not mad at it, actually. As a writer and a very lazy person, I love that this motherfucker came up with one phrase and basically made up a bunch of conversations, made up a bunch of questions he could be asked so he could answer with the phrase, repeated the phrase enough in a piece of marketing genius that it got stuck in everyone's heads, and then it got turned into a movie.
I think for the sheer marketing genius, that applause is well deserved. The emotional, sociological, gender fallout that this book atomic bombs on the world maybe doesn't deserve the applause.
You can't make an omelet without breaking a few heads, you know.
I think just a little bit of context, because I think it really is necessary to understand the point of view of He's Just Not That Into You, the book, and the sentiment and the movie. Yeah. Greg Behrendt is a stand-up comedian. He and a very mainstream stand-up comedian.
They're the real philosophers. They're the real risk takers in our society.
He was hired as a consultant, meaning he comes in only a couple times a week to the writer's room of Sex and the City, who this book is written by Greg Behrendt and Liz DiCillo. So Liz puts in like a paragraph per chapter, kind of giving supportive response to everything Greg is saying. Like, this is how I took this advice the first time. It was blunt and rude, but then I thought about it, and I'm like, I wish I'd known that earlier.
Landon...
And I'm not trying to take that to task, but...
There's one person talking about stuff that is kind of researched, and there's another person there providing color commentary. Are you holding a physical copy of a podcast right now?
If this had come out 10 years later, this would 100% be a podcast.
Oh my God. In a sense, it kind of is a podcast right now.
It is.
Okay.
Now, I have a little bit more context I need to give here.
Yes,
so,
of course.
Stand-up comedian, script consultant, story consultant for Sex and the City. Sex and the City, there's an episode in season 6, and I had the title because I watched it earlier today and I've lost it already.
Is the title He's Just Not That Into You?
No, but it's essentially the movie that we just watched. The girls are at drinks. Ron Livingston is dating Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh, good for her.
He's listening to them all talk about their dating woes. And Cynthia Nixon says, what do you think about that? I'd love a guy's perspective. And he goes, you want me to be honest? You really want to know what I think? And she goes, yeah, I'd love it. Please. He's like, I think he's just not that into you.
Wow.
And that creates the space for the phrase to enter the zeitgeist. It becomes a popular episode. And they're like, you know what? There's something to this. Let's option rights to write a book.
So the guy who wrote the book, are you suggesting that he was basically the one in the room who pitched He's Just Not That Into You as Ron Livingston's line, and then basically he's the one who gets the book deal out of it?
The episode stems directly from Greg in the writer's room telling the writers of the show this essential sentiment, this advice. He's being brutally honest with them and them going, oh my God. And an episode comes out of that.
I just like you're working part-time doing punch-ups on a TV show, and then you blink. You come up with one sentence, and you're just set for life. And meanwhile, I'm out here in these streets working every day, writing emails for Adobe and then getting laid off from that. It's just bullshit, man, how easy writers had it in the 90s. God damn it.
The other thing is, like, now, as I said, he's a stand-up comedian, and he's from the, like, Gen X, early alt style, the David Crosses, who he was a roommate with, and Janine Garofalo.
He drank from the hose. He was a latchkey kid. Yeah, Gen X. Yeah, they really went through it.
But I'm very familiar with him because coming home from school when I was, in high school, middle school, like I would go home, put on Comedy Central, and it would be Comedy Central Presents for like an hour or two. So I saw him often. Yeah. I knew his face and his frosted hair and all that stuff. So I knew him long before He's Just Not That Into You.
Yeah.
This is the last I'm going to say of this. And I don't want to take Greg to task too much, because he does seem like a nice guy.
And he's rich.
It seems like, yes, he found a get-rich moment and took it. Who wouldn't?
Yeah. God bless, man. I would sell out so quick. If I could find one sentence I could write down that would make me money for the rest of my life, I would absolutely do, and I would beclown myself.
While the sociological, societal ripple effects of both this book and The Game by Neil Strauss are similar, I do think they start from different attitudes.
Mm-hmm.
Neil Strauss, and I can say this from personal experience, having had lunch with him, having worked in the pickup artist community, having had to have read the book for my job, he just toxic. There's nothing redeemable about him or that culture at all.
Yeah.
Here, this does seem like it has a good intention and written by a once nice guy who found popularity and now is trying to do some good, but completely missing the mark.
The masculine urge to be the cool guy who's seen everything and is now sharing his knowledge with everybody else. What is like that is one of the most powerful urges within men, is to just be, hey, let me tell you something, kid. All right, I know how to solve your problems.
I just felt like that was necessary context going into this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So let's weave all of those elements into, a souffle here.
Famously woven soufflés. So this movie has nothing to do then with the book. This movie is just like, let's do an American Love Actually with and wrap it up in this one memorable sentence.
Well, if you look at the way the book is structured, in that it's Greg giving advice to these fake conversations, it takes a new shape when you look at the movie, because suddenly Justin Long becomes the avatar for Greg. And it's not a biopic, right? Justin Long isn't writing a book in here. He doesn't have all of this life advice written down. He's just a wise, sage, 20-something bar owner.
I'm just sitting here. I'm sorry, I didn't listen to a word because I was just thinking about Justin Long becomes the Avatar and thinking about him being like 9 feet tall and running through the jungles and somehow still being an unlikable creep in that movie too. But yes, he does seem to be the like Dirk Pitt, Clive Cussler style author insert character in this movie.
Yeah.
Although, much like the author of any given self-help book, he's sitting around being this cool guy dispensing advice, and even in the movie, I'm just like, sir, can I see your credentials? I don't trust you, Justin Long. What you're saying makes no sense.
That is my reaction to the book. He has no credentials. Like, he is a stand-up comedian, and his only experience is that he dated a bunch. He wrote this book while married. So, like...
Nice.
And generally speaking, whether it's Neil Strauss or it's Greg Behrens, who becomes the guru of dating and relationships and behavior? Like, you can't. I think there's an inherent danger and just kind of built-in failure to that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, with Alex in the movie, played by Justin Long, I simply look at him and he's talking about having all this experience with women and all these stories about women, and I only ever really see him, like, in a romantic situation with one woman. Like, I kind of doubt...
One and a half.
Oh, because...
He plays Xbox with someone.
Yeah, he plays... I'm sorry. I have played video games with a number of women who I was not romantically involved with. Not to, like, get out here and flex on the podcast or anything. The way that woman, like, finds out, like, oh, it's 3 a.m. Shit, I gotta get home. See ya, dude. Bye. And just walks out. There's nothing. She's just not that into him.
Yeah.
But, like, he does not seem really to be a ladies' man at all. The movie is telling us that he is. The movie would be better if we find out that he's been passing out all this advice, but actually, no, women hate this guy, and he just tells himself this story like Don Juan DeMarco to, like, claim that he is this master of romance. But
who is? Who would be? What scenario, what expertise do you need to be able to lay claim to that?
I mean, look, honestly, if Bradley Cooper's character in this movie wanted to write a book about how to attract women, it's like, I think he's a piece of shit, but he clearly knows something, being married to Jennifer Connelly and having Scarlett Johansson throw herself at him. I mean, that's a book I would read if I were single.
So, you answered my question inadvertently, which is the only credentials you need are genetics. And so I think the only person that can write that book is God.
Yeah, I'm trying. What's the Christian youth pastor like line into this? It's like, I see you're into that movie. He's just not that into you. I know someone who is into you. He's into everybody.
Oh my God! Someone used that at some point.
The same way I feel like the most interesting man in the world when they were doing that like Dos Equis campaign. I saw so many YouTube videos from like youth ministries about like, I know the real most interesting man in the world. Can I just light up this movie with a hot take?
Boom, do it.
But okay, great. It's more ASMR. I think that this movie with the exact same script would be much better if it were directed by Paul Verhoeven.
Oh, not only is that a hot take, it's got some sizzle on it.
I know.
I'm liking the smell of it.
Thank you. That's you're into it. This movie reminds me a lot of the movie Showgirls, directed by Paul Verhoeven, in that
yes,
all the characters in it behave like they are clinically insane, and
yeah.
And it takes a very dim and cynical view of humanity. And, Showgirls, the script for that movie feels like it was written by a very horny 13-year-old boy who was trying to pass as somebody who knew what sex is. And this script also, I feel like, kind of was written by children. But the reason that Showgirls works as a movie is that it has this very gonzo directing style. And, Paul Verhoeven, I've seen written about him that, like, kind of the theme of all of his movies is how to protect yourself in a world full of assholes. And I could see if this movie, written the way that it was, if it was directed with everything kind of turned up to 11 and presented modern dating as, like, this nightmarish dystopia where, like, the prospect of pairing off with this sleazy bartender who treats you like shit is actually presented as a happy ending because it means that you no longer have to be subjecting yourself to the predations of other even worse men. Like, if it was that level of social satire, I would be into it. It could be very subversive in that way, but instead this movie plays it straight.
Subconsciously, do you kind of want to see that incredibly volatile sex scene in the pool? Since we get Scarlett Johansson and Bradley Cooper in the pool here?
I mean, I don't, simply because all of the sexual content in Showgirls makes me find sex repulsive as a concept, and I kind of want to preserve the part of me that is attracted to Scarlett Johansson, so, no, I don't want to see that.
Okay. So, you hit on something that is interesting, in that romantic comedies are inherently about characters who, in the real world, would be insane.
Yes.
It's part of the genre. It's baked in. It's part of the fantasy, I think. Mm-hmm. And I said I wanted to go back to action movies and horror films.
Yeah.
Because, listen, Truman, I tried to do some self-reflection. I really, really set out my arguments against Pete the Cameraman.
Yeah.
And looked at them against the genre of romantic comedies so that I could enter into today's discussion going, okay, this is what a romantic comedy is. Am I okay with this character in the context of this? Mm-hmm. And I looked at it through the lens of the fantasy of action films, the fantasy of horror films, where, like, I have a bit of an aversion to romantic comedies because I'm like, it's creating Prince Charming syndrome in a lot of people. It's, the unrealistic expectations. But I don't think that's true. I think there is an element of vicariousness. The way that, like, you get catharsis in watching Schwarzenegger take down an entire villa of drug trafficking bad guys in Commando. Mm-hmm. And that's, maybe contributing to toxic masculinity, but it's generally not creating a violent society.
Yeah, like, the society was going to be violent anyway. It's a reflection of a violent society, not the culprit behind it.
And so I think there's a similar thing in romantic comedies where it's like, why do we allow for insane characters in action films and in horror films to do completely irrational things? Her going in the door when it's dark and you're alone.
Yeah.
Why is that any more acceptable or fun to watch, I guess maybe as a male viewer, than watching a girl do insane things to try to get or change a guy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, is that an open-ended rhetorical question, or is that one where I can volley a response?
Both. It is rhetorical, but it is open for response. We are doing a podcast.
I feel like it's acceptable when the results of that person doing the inexplicable, illogical thing are fun. Getting stabbed by the serial killer because you walked into the dark room, probably not fun for the character, but fun for us, the audience, to watch. It creates conflict and thrills and scares and whatever, when they behave in a way that a person normally would not. In this movie, all of the characters behave in very irrational ways, but it doesn't really result in something that's fun to watch. It results in something that's kind of like painful and uncomfortable to watch.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of layers to what you just said. One,
thank you.
Let's just re-acknowledge we're not the audience for this.
Yeah, we're not the audience for this, but it's not fun to watch Ginnifer Goodwin go to a party at Justin Long's house, and because he's led her to believe that he likes her, or she has chosen to believe that he likes her, she then begins cleaning up his apartment for him and spends the entire night doing odd jobs for him while he flirts with another woman right in front of her. It's not fun to watch her then throw herself at him immediately out of sheer desperation. Like, that doesn't play out in a way that's funny. It doesn't play out in a way that, like, creates something on screen that is, like, fun to watch. It's just like, you are a sad person. You are a unwell person, and I am concerned for you. I am not able to revel in the experience.
Okay, all right. There's something there. I need to dig deeper into that, because I'm curious what the alternative is. But we're an hour into this episode. Let's try to orient people to each of these individual storylines and how they connect with each other. And I thought maybe we can talk about this through the different relationships.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, so we've been talking a little bit about Alex. We've talked a bit about Gigi, played by Ginnifer Goodwin, who are kind of the general backbone of this movie, right?
Yeah. They get the most scenes in this ensemble.
And he's the one dispensing the advice from the book, and she's the one that kind of gives it to the other periphery characters who then, that affects their relationships.
Notable that none of the advice that he gives her makes her life better in any way, and none of the stuff that she passes on to anyone else, it only makes her friends miserable and pushes them to doubt themselves. Like, the movie is sort of replicating the experience that a lot of people seem to have had with the title of this movie in the years afterwards.
So, I told you this is going to be a messy episode. There's maybe we can come back to this, but there is a discrepancy between the thesis of the book and what the book is trying to communicate and what the movie is trying to do. Mm-hmm. The movie's trying to be a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
And the happy-go-lucky, they get together by the end, the fantasy version of it is the conventions of the romantic comedy genre.
Yeah.
This book is essentially the anti-romantic comedy.
Yeah.
Because it's saying all of the behaviors in romantic comedies, waiting for a guy, hoping he's going to change, all that stuff that makes up, 90% of the rom-coms we rent, is bullshit. So the movie then takes that and goes, well, we got to make a romantic comedy out of this. And so by the end of it, completely undoes the thesis.
Yeah.
In a way that, has turned me around so many times that I'm like, I think I might be more on board with this movie than I am the book.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, wow, maybe I should have read the book too, so that would improve my opinion of the movie, and we could get maybe a less critical episode. But yeah, no, it is quite a thing that this movie sets out this entire thesis and then disproves the thesis at the very end of the movie.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, Ginnifer Goodwin's friends, that you were getting all this shit advice that actually didn't pan out.
Let's talk about Gigi and Connor.
Yeah, let's talk about Gigi and Connor. So, at the beginning of the movie, Gigi, played by Ginnifer Goodwin, is out on a date with Connor, played by Kevin Connolly. They have a nice enough time, but then in the aftermath, he doesn't call her, and she is freaking the hell out about it, checking her messages all the time, checking her phone constantly. Like, her mom will call her on her landline telephone, and she will say, "Mom, no, I can't talk to you right now. I have to keep the landline open so someone can call me."
Can we just acknowledge right out the gate? By out the gate, I mean 1 hour into this episode.
Yeah, sure.
This movie is 2009.
Yeah, 7,000 years ago.
This book, 2004.
Mm-hmm.
I was texting in 2001.
Yeah, it's really weird. This movie feels so dated, and I'm recognizing as I watch it that, like, this movie was dated even when it came out.
This movie was written by a Gen Xer for a younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to let's just do a thought experiment, okay? What if a boomer had written a movie for Gen Xers?
I'm trying to think of what Spielberg movie that probably is, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Empire Records, they'd be listening to doo-wop and Frankie Valli rather than Gwar.
Yeah. Dogma is all about just how good Catholicism actually is. And things were better back when people went to church.
I think it's a big reason why this movie feels dated is because it's written by people who most impressionable years were with archaic technology by the time this movie came out.
There are scenes in this movie that make me absolutely crack up because it's like people meeting at bars and exchanging business cards and then using their flip phones to call their landlines and leave them an answering machine message. Like, just
you sound like Drew Barrymore right now.
I do. There is Drew Barrymore's character is her whole deal. Her character's whole storyline is basically that she is engaging with the forms of dating that now are completely ubiquitous with how people get together. She is meeting people on a social media site. She is doing video chatting. She is sending texts. And it's all a punchline, and she hates every minute of it.
Well, you know what? When I was doing that, I also hated every minute of it. So
I've never met anyone who's like, fuck yeah, dating rules. I love this. This is a good experience.
But even so, like, OkCupid existed at the time. Dating sites existed at the time.
Yes.
So I don't know why the whole, like, and I'm going to preview, this is a guest of mine in the trailer game next week. Drew Barrymore's little monologue in the drugstore of saying, you know, all the different portals, like, I call him on his landline and I get his voicemail and it goes to this and he emails me and I have to go, and there's all these different places I have to go to get rejected. It's like, though, everything you're listing is, like, not even period accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you might as well just include, you know, carrier pigeons in what you're talking about.
And then it turns out he sent me a smoke signal, but it blew away in the wind, so I don't even know.
I had to find out about him rejecting me through a parchment that came through on the Silk Road.
And then I found out that Lincoln got shot, and that fucked up my whole day. Also, like, just the simple fact that, like, not a major subplot, because this movie is just a you know, Rat King nest of subplots, but she uses MySpace. Like,
put it on the poster. Hold on. This movie is a Rat King nest of subplots is the poster line for this movie.
I think I could have gotten him up over 200 million with that accolade. She tells her sassy gay friends at the gay newspaper where she works that she has started a MySpace profile to meet guys. But again, this is 2009. MySpace was a punchline by 2009. Like, it was still around, but the demographic that's seeing this movie, like the younger people seeing this movie, like me in college in 2009, MySpace was a laughingstock. No one was doing that.
To be fair, she is talking to a guy named Jude on MySpace, and MySpace was, at that time, as it transitioned away from social network into a music platform, Jude is a musician. Is Drew Barrymore just out of date of understanding MySpace, getting on board way too late, and flirting with a musician that's just trying to promote his music?
I mean, yeah, that's kind of a precursor now to the generation that is, like, responding happy birthday to AI-generated images of old people on Facebook. People who are so out of touch that they've lost the plot of what their social network is for at this point.
Yes. Back to Gigi and Connor.
back to Gigi. Look, that I think basically covers Drew Barrymore's storyline. So we knocked one off.
Yes.
Like, she has bad experiences with men through a computer. Great. Now we know what that is. Gigi and Alex.
Different kind of computer lady. Gigi and Connor. Kevin Connolly. Let's talk about him for a second.
I don't like him.
I don't like him either. I think he might be worse than Alex in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Every man in this movie would be the bad guy in any other movie, which is very impressive.
With one exception. That exception surprises me, but we'll get to him in due time.
Okay, yeah, okay. So talk about Kevin Connolly though.
Okay, let's splinter off on Connolly land for a bit to talk about Connor's trajectory through this.
There's a different Connolly land that I want to go to.
I know
later, we'll keep going.
And there's 3 Jennifers in this movie, so keep it together.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, what's your read on this date? Because this date really sends Gigi, basically it gives her the impetus for this entire movie.
Yeah, she's had such a good time with him, and she thinks that it went really super well, and I don't know, my read on it from the get-go was like, yeah, it seems like they had a nice time, seems like they have good banter back and forth.
Is the movie trying to show the confusion of, like, because it shows us the kind of end of the date. It's we had one drink, should we get another drink? Is this date going well enough to continue it? And he's like, yeah, okay, we'll do another one.
Yeah.
And to me, like, it's too early in the movie to throw something confusing at me.
Yeah.
So I'm reading this the first time I'm watching it like, oh, okay, they're having a good date.
Yeah.
But then he doesn't call. So is it the movie trying to make me feel the experience of, well, that felt like an okay date, and now I'm confused as to why he's not calling her?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, tell me, orient me, Truman. I am so lost.
I mean, you've done all the research. How can you be lost? I think, like, my takeaway was like, yeah, the date seems to have gone well, and then, as they're walking away, she's calling her friend to talk about how well the date went. He's calling Scarlett Johansson to see if she wants to hook up, and it kind of like, my takeaway from that is like, okay, so the date went well, but it's nothing about her. He just is like hung up on Scarlett Johansson. And so I was then thinking, okay, so then we're going to develop this storyline out, and we're going to see more of him pursuing Scarlett Johansson and trying to get her to be interested in him and neglecting Ginnifer as a result, and then following Ginnifer as she draws all these conclusions that are not correct about how it's something she did. But instead, what the movie gives us coming out of this is just her freaking out, checking her phone every 2 seconds, and spinning out on that. And we don't get any more Connor. When we do, it's just more stuff about him selling houses or something like that. And we never really get a window. I mean, there's some scenes about it, but it's not really a main plot line. The fact that Connor is hung up on Scarlett Johansson and is like neglecting other women he dates in order to try and get back with her. So you get one side of it to the movie's detriment.
And this is where I'm really confused, and the pretzel starts to come in, which is Connor's character, the character of Connor, is simultaneously, I feel, the most true to life of any of these characters.
Yeah.
And also the one that makes me feel like I hate humanity.
I was thinking about this.
Okay.
I agree. I think he is very true to life. He seems like he's just sort of like a bro-y guy. A dude.
He's someone who has had him as a roommate.
Yes.
Every person has been a roommate of his by proxy.
He thinks he's hot shit. He is a real estate agent who is somewhat successful. He's all about like the suits, the power suits, and drinking whiskey at the bar, whatever.
In college he had a poster of a Calvin Klein underwear model on his bedroom wall.
Or was he perhaps a little bit deeper, and was it like 5 naked women sitting on the edge of a pool, each one with a different Pink Floyd album cover painted onto her back? So I feel like, but like when I look at his actual actions in the movie, he is, I think, the least, or maybe the second least villainous of the guys in it. Like, he doesn't really do anything wrong, short of gentrifying Baltimore neighborhoods that seem to have been the backdrop for episodes of The Wire like 2 years before. Like, I feel like he's selling condos in what used to be Amsterdam, but nothing he's doing is making me hate him. It's kind of just his his vibe, like almost the way that he talks, he has kind of this, hey, he's kind of, it's not like this accent, actually. I sound more like Watto in a Star Wars movie. But like he's got this sort of
with that.
gravelly, Brooklyn-y sort of tough guy accent almost.
More Boston to me.
Or
but
Boston.
Okay.
I don't know.
I get your point.
There's just like, it's like, I don't know. He seems like he's a 20-year-old who is trying to convey the attitude of being like a really hip 36-year-old who's been through some shit. I didn't say 36 just because I'm 36. I've not been through shit. I don't know stuff. Like it seems like he's fronting in a way. Like it seems like he is like trying to put himself out there as more worldly than he is, and so I automatically don't like him. But the movie seems to want us to take him at face value as this cool, salt of the earth guy.
But I just like he's never a main character in this, and even the as he revolves around Drew Barrymore's plot point, Alex's plot point, like he touches on a number of them, but he's never like the lead in it, and so like we start thinking it's an okay date, and then he never calls her. So is he the asshole? He immediately calls Anna. So is he desperate? Anna doesn't want to get with him, but they used to, and is he a simp? But he's too macho to be a simp. Then like they do hook up again, and we see him like cuddling her in a way that he has like his knee up on her stomach, like just I'm just gonna hold on to you, like John Lennon holding on to Yoko Ono on that Rolling Stone cover. Then by the end of it, when he hooks up with Drew Barrymore, it's like he's the guy that's been looking for love, not just hooking up. And like I don't get any. I don't. There's something I think about the way he was introduced and the way that he's kind of played, just inherently doesn't make me trust him. Because
as we've alluded to, like men get hung up on women who aren't into them as well. I have been Gigi desperately checking my phone every 5 minutes after a date, waiting for a text from the girl that then never comes. This happens to men, and Connor's storyline, Kevin Connolly's storyline, could have been a window into that, of how men also want things and are desperate and have a hard time accepting that someone's just not that into them. But the movie presents it as his only interest in Scarlett Johansson's character is sex, and to be fair, Scarlett Johansson is extremely attractive, so that makes sense. But like, it would serve the movie better if there was like something about her as a person that he liked, and that like,
she's hot.
Well, I mean, and
as Bradley Cooper says in multiple lines, you're just so hot.
I have so many thoughts about the Bradley Cooper stuff, so we cannot crack that yet. I'm just saying.
All right, yeah, okay.
His interest is just in getting laid, so it almost like puts out there that women want to like, build a future and find a man who will make them happy for life, and dudes just want to fuck.
This is my biggest problem with the movie, and particularly the book, which is the at no point, yes, it is flimsily advocating for women to stand up and advocate for themselves, obviously, but it's not acknowledging even a little bit the men's responsibility in that equation. It's just, this is how men are. It's nature. You can't change a guy.
In 10 days.
You just hit on the problem for me in this movie, which is like, there are gradients to guys, and I am not one of those guys. I am not depicted in this movie, except kind of by Ben Affleck, and I'm gonna get there in a minute.
You hate saying that. It hurts you to identify with Ben Affleck.
Why?
It hurts me too. I only identify with him when he is exhaustedly smoking outside of his house with his eyes closed.
So, like that. I find that to be problematic too. I acknowledge and am empathetic toward the problem that this book and this sentiment and this phrase has had on women in society. I'm not a woman. I don't have that experience. I can't speak to it, but I can bring the male perspective, which is, this is also damaging to us. It's damaging to women's expectations of men, and not creating space for people like me, like you, as you're alluding to, to like exist. And it's going to make them question us. And it's like, well, I don't really know. You don't fit into the schema. So, like, what do I do with you?
I think that's a big part of why this movie is so unpleasant in so many scenes, because it's every one of these women being paired up with a man who ultimately is behaving callously and poorly, and so it's like just every scene, it's not just like, oh, this is the girl who's dating a shitty guy. It's like, no, every woman in every scene is involved with a crappy guy, so it's not like there's any variety. It's just, okay, and how is this guy going to humiliate and disrespect her? Okay, great. And it's like, that isn't even like bugging me on a woke bay level. That's bugging me on a just like, I don't want to see the same interaction in every scene.
And you know what? I'm just gonna say it. I think that normalizing the kind of brutal, honest, or I'm putting those in scare quotes, approach to just saying he's just not that into you, Alex's whole thing here is also really toxic and awful.
Yeah.
Because it's like there are scenarios. In fact, in the Sex and the City episode about this concept, Cynthia Nixon gets introduced to the topic of he's just not that into you, and she kind of goes on this crusade that Ginnifer Goodwin goes on in this movie, where she goes on another date with a guy, and he starts to try to give her an excuse after going to dinner for some curry, and she's like, you could just say it. You're not that into me. It's fine. It's liberating. We can both just go our separate ways. And he's like, no, it's not that. It's just that I really just have to get home. I'm tired. And she's like, just be honest with me. Just say it. And he's like, I have diarrhea. And then, walks away. Okay, lame joke, but illustrates that, like, the he's just not that into you is compartmentalizing so many variations that could be, like, and I'm not saying wait for a guy forever, but, like, this book, a lot of the stuff said in the movie is, like, if a guy likes you, he'll let you know. If a guy wants to call you, he'll call you. He'll find a way to call you. And I'm like, that is not necessarily true.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily true.
Yeah. I mean, nobody should be writing dating advice books, and definitely nobody should be making movies out of dating advice books. Well, can we talk a little more about Gigi?
Okay, let's take Gigi, yes.
I think that what Gigi really needs is not a man, but a therapist, because Gigi...
I mean, to be fair, everyone does.
Everyone does, but this is the thing. Gigi is behaving like a person who has a mental illness, and I know this because I am a person who has a mental illness. It is not like it is not normal to go on one date with a person and then dedicate every conversation you have with your friends to talking about and overanalyzing the date, to repeatedly hang up on your own mother when she's calling you, seemingly because she needs something, so you can sit and stare at the phone and make sure that you don't miss a call. It is not normal to, like, she is stalking guys. She's, like, driving past their houses. She's going to places where they go. The way that she meets Alex is she goes back to the bar where she and Connor went, hoping to run into him there because he hasn't called her. Like, this is self-destructive behavior. This is pathological stuff.
So this is where I'll bring up what we earmarked at the beginning of the episode, where your criticisms, which are justified and fair, are butting up against the conventions of the genre, of the romantic comedy genre, where people act insane.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, what do you, like, if you have to put a character in a situation where they have to eventually learn something and you have to show that before, how do you depict this? How do you change this?
Well, look, having someone be obsessed and crazy about dating, like, that can make sense in a romantic comedy. You have to give the character, like, something that happened in their life that has made that formative. Some kind of, like, flashback to her as a kid, or, like, something that is making her, like, fixate so hard on relationships. And yes, I know there's the scene at the beginning with the little girl getting pushed down and the mom saying the reason he did that is because he likes you, and then the whole thing about, no, men are mean to you because they're not that into you.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't set up Gigi's storyline. I don't even know if that was actually Gigi in that scene. Like,
Let's assume it was.
all we know about Gigi, really, is that she is desperate to get a man to go out with her a second time. And that works, and you can hold on to that and, like, get invested in that as a romantic comedy plot if it's like, oh, because there was this boy that got away in middle school, and that was a traumatic moment, and ever since then she's been trying to fill the hole left by that guy. Like, okay, fair. That is something that is, like, again, it's a point that you've made before. People don't go to the movies because they want realism. They go because they want truth. That would be true to her character. All we have here is just this person seems desperate to be close to anyone and will go to great lengths and destructive lengths to get that.
Yeah. And do you think that it's writing in big strokes, big broad strokes, because it's such an ensemble piece and you have to make space for so many other storylines that you eventually cut nuance out? Like, this character has to represent this thought from the book. This character has to represent this thought from the book.
I feel like there's just ways, like, there's ways you could fit character and stuff into this movie without really blowing up the runtime. For one thing, you could take out all of the weird man on the street or woman on the street interviews where it's just people, just comedians doing their tight five about dating to the camera for some reason. Natasha Leggero is in there at one point. That's fun.
Yeah.
But also, it's just like just the dialogue in the scenes. So often, the stuff that, like, the characters are talking about to each other or they're doing is just, it's really like kind of bland placeholder dialogue about something. There's never even, like, her talking to her friends about, like, what happened in her life to make her this way or what she feels about it. It's always just they are just talking about dates and things that they went on. They're like, I think you can give some grounding in character to this movie without having to turn it into a 3-hour movie.
Let me ask you, this movie's way too fucking long for one thing.
Someone should go to jail for how long this movie is.
Let me ask you, what in your mind is a good example of a romantic comedy? Like, if you were to put one on, what one are you gonna go to?
I mean, I like Moonstruck quite a lot. That's a good romantic comedy. Okay. I don't know. You've got me flat-footed. I mean, certainly I like When Harry Met Sally. That's kind of a cop-out. Does Clueless count as a romantic comedy? You know I love Clueless.
It's more of a comedy with romance, I would say.
Okay. I don't know. Like,
the romance isn't the spine of the story. It's her transformation.
Yeah. I don't know. The Last Song, solid romantic comedy.
I'm just trying to think of, like, Sleepless in Seattle. How do they represent their characters in those movies? And I guess When Harry Met Sally is a good proxy because it has interstitials like this movie. It kind of sets the template for romantic comedies after 1989. So, and you really do get a point of view of each of the characters and their lives, and I said lives instead of lives.
Yeah, lives or something like them. Yeah. I thought of one. A good romantic comedy?
Okay.
Love Actually, okay? An ensemble movie about a bunch of different people having cute little stories. There's things about it that have not aged well. Who gives a shit? Yeah. It's a charming film. Every character in that...
put it through the character lens, yeah.
Well, yeah, through the character lens. Like, a lot of the characters in that movie behave irrationally, but you kind of, like, you get enough about each character. Each character is lived in enough that you understand why they are the way they are. The weird, the weird dorky English guy who goes to America, like, you see him trying to hit it off with a British woman and it doesn't work, and then he goes to his friend and explains his little plan. There's a thing in each of these characters' pasts or a thing going on in their life that is motivating the way that they are acting. And here, it's really not.
Okay, let me ask you this, just to change the conversation a bit. Which storyline works for you? Which one do you think is, whether it's satisfying, what do you think is the most lived in and well written?
In this movie?
In this movie.
The most well-written and lived-in storyline. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess Drew Barrymore, because maybe just I can relate to it the most.
Okay, well, that's fair. I mean, I did relate to it considerably.
Yeah.
I would say, and there's two sides to this. I would say it's the Jennifer Connelly, Bradley Cooper, Scarlett Johansson story.
Oh, man, we're getting there.
However...
Yeah.
That's not a romantic comedy. That's more romantic drama territory.
Yeah. I think that you can tell a romance story or a romantic comedy story in which, yes, the characters behave sort of irrationally or do things that people who are normally dating would not do, or things that are normally stalking, and it cannot feel like you are watching an episode of Intervention. Like, I'm just saying, when she, like, the scene of her at Justin Long's house, like, the whole relationship she has with Justin Long, like, there's Gigi, where she's on dates with other guys, where she's like at their house, she's at this guy's house and is making out with him, and then she starts having doubts about the relationship and gets up and runs into the bathroom and calls Justin Long. I mean, first, that again seems like a mental health thing. You are like taking yourself away from your life because you are too busy obsessing about what you're doing. And then she's seeking out his advice, and he's telling her, this guy isn't serious, you should leave. So he is like telling her to sabotage her relationship, and she's doing it. Like, that's almost cult leader stuff. Like, as a character, she has no agency. She's only doing what this guy is telling her to do now. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
There's nothing to refute there. The only thing, that scene in particular is where the movie, I think, starts to deviate from the thesis of the book, because it's the first, like, contrivance of plot that we can point to that leads them to get together at the end. Because she calls him, and he's making out with a girl, and interrupts his makeout session to talk to her on the phone. Whether he realizes it or not yet, he's invested, fate is starting to play its hand in bringing these two together. This is, by the way, the only time we see him, like, romantically involved with any woman besides Gigi at the end. So, just saying. We do have talk of getting together with Busy Phillips.
Yeah, Busy Phillips, one of his employees. You know how you just
that didn't age well at all.
Hook up with your employees. Look, he owns a bar, and he has a nice back office that he hangs out in, and I think they want me to think that because it worked on Cheers, it's going to work here. Justin Long, you are no Ted Danson. You get that shit out of my face. Do not get involved with your employees.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Let's move on from Gigi for a moment.
Yes.
And let's talk about Ben and Janine and Alex.
Yes.
Not Alex, Anna.
Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Connelly and Scarlett Johansson, the kind of love triangle that happens there.
Yes. So, Bradley Cooper and Scarlett Johansson meet in a gas station checkout line, supermarket. Like, he's buying beer and some gum, and she's buying whatever. And they have a little flirtatious moment at the counter. They go on to talk outside the bar, outside the store for a bit. They're clearly attracted to each other. They're having a moment, and he tells her he's married, but says, "Well, why? I can still give you my card. That's okay, right?" To begin this kind of world of justification for his behavior.
Because he works in the music industry and she is a singer, and he's initially said, "Oh, I could help you with your career."
And thus begins a kind of a storyline where he's slowly dipping his toe in the world of infidelity, and it goes through with it at a certain point.
Yeah.
And his marriage with Jennifer Connelly, they married fresh out of college. She gave him an ultimatum. They have just bought a house, and they are renovating it and dedicating in their future, by building something together. And their marriage is a little stale. They haven't had sex in a long time. Therefore, it's giving the scenario for him to be interested in other people.
Yeah. You know how you're just married to Jennifer Connelly, and then you're like, yeah, this isn't
right. All right.
This isn't amazing. Yeah. No, man, I hate this. Oh, fucking, when you're graduating from college and Jennifer Connelly forces you to marry her? Oh.
I think, okay, here, Truman, this is what we're going to do. Folks, listen, listeners, this is going to be a moment. We're going to just allow what happens to happen here. Truman, just like George Orwell's 1984, having a moment where everyone screams to get everything out of their system, I'm gonna allow you a minute here to just get everything out of your system for Jennifer Connelly and Scarlett Johansson.
I mean, look, I don't even need a minute. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Every scene in this movie where Jennifer Connelly is on screen, I am really having a hard time focusing on any of the other inane bullshit, because I am just marveling at how shiny her hair is, and wouldn't it be cool, like, if in the carriageway she dropped a ribbon and I kind of sprint across the street and I pick up her ribbon to hand it back to her and her finger lightly brushes mine and then we never meet again? Would that not be a perfect moment? I'm sorry, whatever. Academy Award winner Ginnifer Connelly. She's great. She's just excellent. I'm kind of Mr. Belvedere fan club at this point. How much time we got left?
Time.
Okay, that's
and
it.
time.
Okay. All right. So anyway,
now, listeners, that was a judgment-free zone. We just had to let it get out, and now we can move on with the episode.
Great. Perfect.
Without further interruption.
Yeah.
So
they're married. Their relationship is not going well. They spend most of their time invested in, updating their condo that they've bought. The original condo looks like ass, and then after all the renovations at the end of the movie, it still looks like just the shittiest Airbnb you've ever been to. But so what I don't get about this, like, I think that a storyline about a man being, making the choice to cheat on his wife and how the ripple effects from that, I think that there's a lot of potential for drama and conflict that come out of that.
Yes.
And what bums me out here is that I don't know what Scarlett Johansson sees in Bradley Cooper.
He's hot.
Is he, though?
He's hot.
Is he hot?
He's hot.
But okay, but
He's
is Scarlett Johansson not capable of meeting other hot guys who maybe aren't married? Is he that much hotter than anyone else?
The heart wants what the heart wants, and the loins want what the loins want. You can't judge that. Sometimes you don't get a choice.
Okay, if you're going to put limits on how much I can talk about Ginnifer Connelly, I'm instituting a hard no loins policy on this podcast.
Men and women have loins that decide their decisions sometimes.
Stop fucking. Okay,
I'm not putting my feelings on any particular person. I'm just acknowledging that a character can be horny for someone without rationale.
Look. People get together all the time because they're horny. I am all about movies having horniness in them. Yeah. But like, if you're going to tell a story about two people who are so horned up for one another that they blow up their entire lives, like, you need to at least make us feel some more of that. Like, there's not, like, desire present in the movie. I mean, like...
Yes.
The biggest that it gets is, like, Bradley Cooper repeatedly meeting up with Scarlett Johansson and just telling her, "You're so hot. Wow, you're amazingly hot." She tells him at one point that he has an ass that makes her want to dry hump. And, like, again, talk about a movie written by children. But it's like, so there's not this... There's no sense of, like, the excitement and the allure of meeting someone and falling for them, and it's an affair and it's illicit. Like, they don't have... And also, like, yeah, people get together because they're horny, sure. Part of being horny for someone is also, there's still an emotional aspect to the person has a charm to them. They make you feel seen or recognized or validated in a certain way, and which is not
I don't think
present.
That's true for everybody. I don't understand that. That's not my experience, but I've seen enough evidence that I think that's not true for everybody. It literally just is, my pants are a little wet and I need to explore this.
I've seen enough evidence. There was this film I watched where a pizza delivery man showed up at a woman's house, and you are not going to believe what direction it went. And another movie, a cable repair guy.
The thing with Scarlett Johansson's character that is never... You want to talk about a character that's not given any motivation or background.
Oh, boy.
And that I think is just kind of alluded to. And it's not even like a promiscuousness.
Yeah.
In fact, the key to her character came to me in the coda of this film. So they have the kind of American Graffiti style documentary, like... Okay, let's skip ahead to Bradley Cooper cheats on Ginnifer Connelly with Scarlett Johansson, tells her about it. They break up, kind of... They separate. Ginnifer Connelly wants to repair their marriage. She comes to him at work when he's about to get it on with Scarlett Johansson. He shoves Scarlett Johansson in a closet. They have sex while Scarlett Johansson has to listen. Scarlett Johansson rightly gets upset and ends the affair and storms out. Okay, I need a breath for a second. The coda of the film, because they do not get back together.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson and Bradley Cooper. The coda of the film is Scarlett Johansson being in character interviewed, talking about just kind of being aimless, not knowing where her career is going to be. I'm going to go to India with a friend. And
yoga retreat,
painted for me in reverse was, this is a character who doesn't know what she wants.
Yeah.
This is a character that is aimless and just kind of feeling things out.
Yeah.
Now, the movie doesn't really support that, doesn't give a lot of evidence for that, but I think that's the intention of what that character is supposed to embody.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that that's also what's sort of frustrating, because the way that Scarlett Johansson's character behaves in this movie, also, like Gigi, doesn't make a lot of sense. It's kind of not normal. I mean, she meets Bradley Cooper. He said, they strike up this conversation. He says, "Oh, you're a musician. I can give you my number. We can work it out." And then he kind of stops and says, "I'm sorry, I'm not the kind of guy who does this. I'm married." So he immediately admits to her, "Yeah, this is all just a pretext to sleep with you, and I'm actually married." But then, even though he's admitted that he's married, he keeps pursuing her, and she's encouraging this flirtation. It's definitely not. Yeah. It's not on her that he cheats on his wife, just for the record. But he is putting up red flags all over the place from the minute they meet, and she is diving headlong after this guy, and she's saying stuff to him like, "You're just too good. Why aren't there more guys like you? Why are you married?" And so I'm curious about
she's being very clear in pursuing him.
Yes, very clear about it.
Yeah.
And I just, I'm curious about, okay, Scarlett Johansson's character, what happened in your life that has made you this way? I'm interested, I'll buy this behavior if it is grounded in something about you or another experience you had or something that you're seeking. But again, because of poor characterization, all we know is she's just decided that she's gonna go after this handsome married guy instead of, any other straight guy who would be perfectly happy for that.
I don't disagree with you. Obviously, that is the key to better writing. Every time you say it, I start to try to think of other examples. I don't know why I started to think of You, Me, and Dupree.
Yeah, I don't know why you did that either.
Why? I don't know, but I did. Or Drillbit Taylor. How much do we actually know about any of those characters in any of these movies?
What's with Owen Wilson? Why? Those are the two options you can get?
I don't know. I was thinking of Behind Enemy Lines, and I was thinking about Shanghai Nights, and how much do we really know about those characters? Let me ask you, is the criticism, does it come up because it's not working, or is it not working because that stuff isn't there?
I don't know.
Does that question make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. Look, the fact of the matter is, this is a guy who is giving her really nothing. All he's saying to her is, "You are hot. I can't believe how hot you are." And he's also making clear that he is not a trustworthy person because he's being unfaithful to his wife, and also he's admitted up front that he's being unfaithful, and the reason, he was not up front about the reason he wanted to give her his number in the first place. Mm-hmm. To see a character see all of these flashing warning signs and not get any kind of glimpse into their reasoning or their headspace for why they're choosing to look past them, I think that's poor writing. I think for that sort of thing to work, you need to understand, you can see a person ignore warning signs, but you have to understand what it is about them that makes them inclined to do that.
Here's a question that I think maybe looking to other rom-coms is maybe not the right move here. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if this is an ensemble piece problem, in that everything you're saying makes 100% sense if we're looking at her as the main character in her story. Mm-hmm. But she's representing a piece in this tapestry. And because of that, she doesn't have to have a redemptive arc. She doesn't need to start. She just needs to represent an aspect of the larger picture. So I'm trying to think of other ensemble movies where it's more archetypal. I'm still struggling, but yeah.
I don't know what Scarlett Johansson wants. Yes, she wants to be with Bradley Cooper.
She wants a bone. She wants to go to Bone Town.
Yeah, but the movie doesn't do a good job of conveying this is driven 100% by animal lust and desire. Yes, obviously it they talk about it, but it's not you look at a movie I'm starting to keep going back to Challengers, but there is a movie that is all about being horny for someone and what she sees in them and what they see in him. We don't really get her this just doesn't, you don't feel what they're feeling. There's no feeling to it. It almost feels like the entire storyline is just there to get your boyfriend excited in the seat next to you when they're hooking up in his office.
I'm going to ask, is there anything wrong with that?
Well,
if that's what the genre is, like, I don't know what the fucking life story of any teenage victim of a slasher movie is, but it gets me excited in the seats. And I don't particularly think those are good movies, but the comfort of the genre is what draws me in.
I'm sorry, I can't really get invested in a story when I'm not really clear on why the character is behaving the way they're behaving. I can't understand or empathize with why they're behaving the way they're behaving, and I guess I can't. I just feel like all Bradley Cooper is doing for her is telling her that she's hot. And I think that if you are looking like Scarlett Johansson, you've probably had a few men tell you you're hot before, and will probably have a few men tell you you're hot again later.
Okay, let me give you a new lens to look at this.
Okay.
What if Scarlett Johansson was from the romantic comedy equivalent of the Orson Fortune School for Bad Guys?
Okay. So she's a complete pushover in every regard and just only exists to let the other guy win. Okay. Well,
in that is part of that type of movie. You need just a slew of Guy Ritchie bad guys for the good guys to mow down. She is their motivationless, just being a body and an obstacle for the other protagonists to have to go through.
Well, okay, here's the problem with that. She seems to be the protagonist in their storyline, at least in the storyline of her and in her relationship with Bradley Cooper. We're spending more time with her. We're spending more time in her head and her dealing with it.
This does feel like an ensemble problem and also that we're not going to solve here. Let's move on to talking about another couple. I have to talk about Ben Affleck at a certain point.
Okay, yeah, you have to talk about your best friend Ben Affleck. Yeah, go for it. I will just say, Love Actually ensemble movie managed to, like, you kind of understand why everybody is doing what they're doing. You understand every character's wants and motivations in every scene, which does not take that much to do.
That's a very fair point. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Jennifer Aniston and Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think it's been said yet, but Ginnifer Goodwin, Jennifer Aniston, and Jennifer Connelly are all co-workers.
Yes.
And
the Jennifers.
They often talk. Jennifer Aniston's story is that her and Ben Affleck have been together for 7 years. They have a good relationship, as it seems, with one hitch, which is she has secretly wanted to get married, and he has been very vocal and communicative about not seeing the value in marriage. And as she reveals to him, I have been hiding from you the fact that I want to get married for the last 5 years because I didn't want to seem difficult.
Yeah.
And I need to know, after you're being nice to me and hanging up this picture for me, are you going to marry me? Are we ever going to get married? Even though he's been very communicative about, like, these are the reasons I don't want to get married, doesn't mean I'm not committed to you. I am here for you, in every regard.
Has he been
for this relationship?
Has he been clear about his reasons for not wanting to?
I think so. I mean, as far as the movie is, the Cliff Notes version of a character giving the reasons. Yeah, I think we're supposed to assume that, like, this is my problem with this storyline in the movie. I think he's being very earnest and open, and, like, there's no duplicity with his character.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to get married because he doesn't believe in marriage, and he's communicated that to her.
Yeah.
She has not felt comfortable saying that. My problem is that it doesn't seem to be the character of Ben Affleck's fault. It's that the society has made her feel that she can't say that, otherwise she'll be difficult.
Yeah.
And therefore they haven't had the conversation about marriage for 5 years, even though it's something she wants and that he doesn't. And when she presses him and says, "Are you going to marry me?" and he's just silent, she breaks up with him. They split.
Yeah.
Now that's fine. Okay. That is a inciting incident for whatever journey they're about to go on.
Would we call it a journey?
Well, I mean, as far as, the screen time you get in an ensemble piece.
Yeah. The screen time that you take is equal to the screen time that you make.
Now, she goes off to her sister's wedding and has all kinds of shenanigans out there. We get a Chris Christopherson jump scare.
Yeah.
It
was so unexpected. What are you doing there, Mr. Christopherson? This movie's bad.
R.I.P. Then Ben Affleck goes off into boat land. He's living on his boat for a while, and Bradley Cooper, his friend, comes over sometimes.
He's a veritable Dirk Pitt. Everything good that ever happened to Ben Affleck happened on the water.
I'm gonna say Ben Affleck probably a better Dirk Pitt than Matthew McConaughey.
Honestly, not a bad guess.
We really don't get a lot of Brad Pitt in this movie. We don't get a lot of Ben Affleck in this movie.
Yeah.
We don't get any Brad Pitt. You know what? Jennifer Aniston got me thinking on that line. Anyway, Jennifer Aniston we follow more of, and she's at her sister's wedding, and there's a lot of like, oh, you'll find the right guy, or oh, my sister is still single, and guys better watch out. Like a lot of this inadvertent shaming that she's single at her age. After her father has a heart attack, the family is, trying to recover. Ben Affleck shows up to help.
Yeah.
And really, I think, shows nothing that we doubted from the get-go, that he's there for her. He wants to be there for her. Like, this isn't a chore to him. Like, the second he heard, he was there to help.
Yeah.
And it makes her rethink, like, oh, I've been seeing all these shitty guys. I've been hearing what Ginnifer Goodwin's going through, and who cares if he doesn't want to get married?
Mm-hmm.
We had a great relationship. I miss him. We were good for each other.
Yeah.
And they get back together.
Yeah.
Then.
What? Yeah, they're just gonna not be married, and the movie's just gonna end with a man and a woman in a committed relationship not being married. That's a normal thing. Movies love to do that.
So, like, let's pause for a second. I really related to Ben Affleck's character here, and I thought, like, for a good portion of this movie, I'm like, okay, interesting. You have this many people. You are actually going to show... No, you're not going to show the different experiences of people of color, of people of disability. Why would you ever do anything outside of, white affluent characters?
Are there going to be gay people? Yes, there's going to be gay men, the only kind of gay people who exist in the world, and they're only at the sidelines.
And they're there to help.
Yes. Helpful gay men.
And I got really excited thinking, oh my God, they're actually going to show a healthy alternative to societal norms in this movie.
You fool.
Me fool.
Folly.
I'm a fool. I'm such a fool.
Yeah.
As soon as they get back together, her, and they have a moment where they have their, like, little boy loses girl, boy gets girl again. And in that moment, she's like, I don't care if we don't get married. And he's like, you really mean that, right? You've come, you've gone through this journey, and you believe in our relationship regardless if I don't ever want to get married. And she's like, yes, I just want you.
Mm-hmm.
The next scene that we see them in, there's some convoluted thing. He proposes to her.
Yeah.
They're going to get married.
Yeah. It makes the entire journey they went on sort of meaningless, right? Like,
yeah.
And it almost...
Absolutely.
And it makes me kind of think, hey, Ben Affleck, who up until now I felt like was kind of the nicest guy in the movie, if this really wasn't that big a deal for you, then why didn't you just marry her in the first place, dude? She clearly wanted it. If you love her, and if it wasn't that big a deal, then why did you do all this?
Also, when you're talking about, characterization, wants, backstory, and all that stuff, I feel this movie, Jennifer Aniston just, like, doing so much heavy lifting with so little in this. She's fantastic, but I have no idea why she wants to get married outside of just like, I want to get married.
Yeah. Does she want kids?
It's what every girl dreams of.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not a good enough reason.
They keep coming back to that, what every girl dreams of. There's a scene late in the movie where Scarlett Johansson has gotten back together with Kevin Connolly's character, and he takes her to this house that he's going to buy and says, but I don't want to buy it unless you feel like it's a place you could move into with me.
What a fucking move. Fuck him for that.
He's a real way. Too much too soon. You stepped in something good. She broke up with Bradley Cooper and came back and gave you everything you wanted. Then you're like, hey, commit to me forever, idiot.
Oh, fuck him. I just hate that guy.
But when when he says that and she says no and winds up breaking up with him, but she says, you're offering me everything that every girl wants and I just can't take it. And it's like, how the fuck do you know what every girl wants? Not every girl wants to live in a house in a gentrified neighborhood in East Baltimore with Kevin Connolly. There's a lot of different ways to be a person. But Yeah, no, it's not made clear what Jennifer Aniston wants, and also her whole arc in this thing. You know, she and Ben Affleck, they have this conflict of, we've been together, he doesn't want to get married. And then their arc in the movie is basically, she just is single for a while, and it's just like half a dozen vignettes about how being single sucks. Like,
one of those vignettes is problematic to me in a way.
Oh,
and,
just one.
You know, like, whatever. Well, I mean, just one, and it's not the one where her cousin hits on her. No, it's...
Is it the other one where her cousin hits on her? Because there's two different scenes where her cousins are being very publicly lecherous and weird.
My problem is neither of the cousin scenes, which is a problem.
Yeah, Landon endorses that behavior. That's problematic, Landon.
The scene that's like the nerdlinger who comes over and starts talking about being a Wiccan.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I was impressed. I've never really seen a movie do that before. Like, this guy is a witch. How about that, right?
I mean, I guess it's an odd turn for that, but like, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Like, if this book, this whole thesis for He's Just Not That Into You is setting a binary world in which guys are naturally predisposed to be this way, and girls are, you should have too much integrity to spend time wasting on a guy that's not into you. What the fuck world do Wiccan Boy live in?
Yeah.
Like, that you're making a cartoon character of the periphery where most people live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're saying you don't belong here. You are a joke.
Yeah.
That's where I am like, okay, really fuck the sentiments of this movie.
No, I'm sorry. It's that Wiccan guy's fault. He should have just decided to be cool. If he had just chosen to be cool instead of choosing to be a loser, deciding that he wanted that for himself, it'd be totally different.
If anything, like, if he has just chosen to be himself. You look at Kevin Connolly's character when he's like prepping to go dress for his showing, house showing, and he comes out wearing a purple shirt, trying to appeal to the gay clientele that he's been advertising to.
Yeah,
and in the like no homo world of being a roommate with Alex, he's like, Alex makes a semi-gay joke to him, and he goes, "I don't think so, douchebag. I'm just trying to whatever." It's like, cool, yeah, guys can't connect unless they call each other douchebags, and
like, this is
make sure neither of them know that they're gay.
This is an entire scene in this movie is literally just Justin Long's character coming back to the apartment, seeing Kevin Connolly trying on more gay-coded clothing, and like making jokes back and forth about it. And like, just like, that is the whole entirety of it, is just like, isn't that a funny concept?
But the point being, like, Kevin Connolly doesn't know who he is or what he wants, where, the warlock at least knows who he is and what he wants, and he's putting it out there. And you know what? Jennifer Aniston doesn't seem to be into him. I bet he's going to move on faster than anyone else in this movie.
Yeah. She's like, she's pretty dismissive of him early on. But just her whole storyline, though, it's just, she has a bunch of experiences being single that suck. It's like, oh man, dating, right? Or doing things single. Like, there's a scene where they're getting ready for the wedding with her sister's bridesmaids, and everyone's talking to her like she's got a terminal illness because she's single now, and like, and then in the end, like, yeah, she and Ben Affleck get back together after he shows up and at this crucial time. But it's like, so their storyline, it's not about like her trying to work through this with him or anything that is her like in the relationship she's pursuing, talking about marriage and being serious and what that means to her. It's literally just, they break up. She experiences a bunch of like negative being single experiences, like all the other characters.
And at a wedding.
Yeah.
So, not in the real world. You're in the hermetically sealed bubble of a wedding.
She has just
a family wedding.
A really terrible like 2 weeks basically, and goes back to it. But so it doesn't really add anything. Like, Ben Affleck barely in the movie, really. He's just off on his boat having a ball. But so we
and a smoke.
It is weird. He offers Bradley Cooper a cigarette when they're out on the boat at one point, and there's this ongoing thing where Jennifer Connelly suspects that Bradley Cooper has started smoking again, and he insists that he hasn't. and Ben Affleck offers Bradley Cooper a cigarette, and Bradley Cooper goes, no thanks, that's like meant to be an indicator, oh, he's not smoking.
Yeah.
But I don't
Stay tuned next week. I've got a mystery to unfold with that.
It's just like, I think I'm trying to remember another movie where, like, someone who's good guy coded is smoking a cigarette in, like, a romantic comedy, or really any movie anymore. Like, when it's just like,
yeah, I was gonna say, what's the time frame on that one? Because I could turn you on to about 1,000 screwball comedies from the 30s and 40s where everybody is smoking.
But that's what I mean, though. But like a movie from like 2000,
right.
A movie from the 21st century,
right?
Where it's like, they needed him to get offered a cigarette in the scene, but then that means that nice guy Ben Affleck also is a smoker, even though we never see him smoking. And it just seems like that's a bad guy coded thing now.
I think I also think that's a Gen X addition.
They smoked cigarettes from the hose. Yeah, it's just different.
They're smoking on stage. They're doing all this shit.
So cool. But yeah, so we just will cut back to Ginnifer Aniston from time to time, and just like, oh man, she's at this wedding and she has to walk down the aisle as a bridesmaid with a dog. Oh man. Yeah. Or like, oh, she's the wedding toast is her cousin talking about how she's beautiful, but she's getting up there in years. So it's just, cutting from one unpleasant experience with another character to then, even more unpleasantness. I don't know. It doesn't need to be in the movie at all. Like, their whole storyline probably serves this the least.
Okay, let's transition into that real quick. Do you think this movie is served at all by being an ensemble piece?
No, not in the slightest. They should have picked. They should have picked the Bradley Cooper storyline and gone with that, because that has the most narrative heft, and I guess it's an excuse to keep Jennifer Connelly in the movie.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the book at all.
Well, nothing has. Well, no, I don't want to see a movie that's just a bunch of imaginary conversations. I don't want to see a movie that is just a.
Wait, isn't that every movie?
God damn it! You're right, Landon. When you're right, you're right.
You are bleeding from your petard hoisting.
Oh my god! It's really bad. It's really bad. I think that's probably the that's a stronger storyline than just like the Ballad of Gigi and Alex.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a movie.
No, but it could be a song.
It's not a song I'd listen to. I mean, it would probably be shorter than the movie, I guess, so it's got that going for it. I don't know, what storyline do you think is strong enough to sustain this movie on its own?
This movie? I think the Gigi, Alex, who else do we bring in there with that? I think the strongest storyline is the Ginnifer Connelly, Ben, Anna storyline.
Yeah.
But I feel like that deviates from the purpose of the movie. As far as the movie is concerned, Gigi, Alex, Connor, and Anna. Let's choose those four.
Sure. Yeah.
You get enough spectrum of perspectives with that. You get a non-committal person. You get someone that is going through the motions but is actually looking for love. You get a guy who thinks he knows everything but has something to learn at the end. Mm-hmm. And you've got the girl who's taking what should be sage, wise advice but turns out to be completely bullshit by the end, and they all have something to learn.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, the Bradley Cooper storyline, for how much space it takes up and for how much emotional space it takes up, it doesn't really apply that much to the main thing of the movie. Like, yes, I guess he is not that into his wife, but he is that into Scarlett Johansson. So, I guess it's just like, hey, look, someone's hooking up out there.
Yeah. I just want to mention, before we get too far toward the end here, which is, we talked about the Chris Christopherson jump scare.
Yeah.
There's another jump scare in this movie, and one that I'm going to steal a phrase from Truman Caps. Had me hooting and hollering, honking like a goose.
Oh, really? It had you doing both. Oh, my God.
A specific goose, a goose man.
Oh, Landon. Beautiful.
Uncredited in this movie, the renovator, the contractor renovating the house of Bradley Cooper and Ginnifer Connelly, played by Louise Guzman.
I mean, you want to talk about someone who is hooting and hollering, that I get a scene between Ginnifer Connelly and then one of my all-time favorite character actors, And I don't think that I'm biased. I really think that Jennifer Connelly is great in this, working with an underwritten role.
I do too. I do too.
Academy Award winner Jennifer Connelly. And then, I mean, Louise Guzman is great. And so there's this back and forth where she's sort of interrogating him about some cigarettes she found, trying to figure out if they came from his contractors or from Bradley Cooper.
Stay tuned next week.
And it's really fun just watching these two go back and forth off of each other, because she's asking these really intense questions with this, like, really sort of intense fury burning in her mesmerizingly beautiful eyes, and Louise Guzman is just sort of put off by it and is like, she asks some question, he's like, that's a lot of prepositions, I don't know, and like it's weird though that Louise Guzman has been like a known quantity for so long and will still just show up in like one scene in a bit part in a movie. It's just like 12 years post Boogie Nights, and it's like, oh, give him one scene, why not? Here's a little treat for the cinephiles. Great. Yeah, he rules.
He's awesome. Listen, how do we wrap up these storylines? Do we want to just kind of say how they all culminate?
Yeah, let's talk about that. So
let's go down the line. Let's start with Gigi and Alex.
Yes,
the main story. How does that end?
So Alex is giving Gigi all of this advice throughout the movie, which is really not great. And then she eventually comes to believe, wait, no, he actually likes me, and that's why he's spending all this time giving me the advice. Goes to this party of his. He's trying to act like they're she's believing they're a couple and is helping him out with all this party stuff, like they're hosting it together. But then it turns out, oh no, he's actually interested in this other girl. But then it seems for 1 second like he isn't, so she tries to kiss him, and it's this whole thing where he says, no, I'm not that into you, and then she yells at him, and then leaves, and then immediately afterwards he realizes he is that into her, and so he tries to call her, and then he winds up showing up at her house after another one of her dates to tell her, oh, it's you, I am that into you, and I have been. And she's starting to say to him, like, she's kind of like doubting it and saying, she's making like a very salient point at one point, saying like, well, wait, hang on, how can I trust you? It doesn't seem like you really know what you want. And then he just starts kissing her, and then it's like, well, okay, I guess that conversation's over with.
Well, and an important thing that we skipped over too is at one point he tries to hook her up with his brother or like brother's friend or something like that named Bill.
Yeah.
And she doesn't believe that Bill exists because he never shows up anywhere until the very end. When Bill does show up, they do go on a date. And as Bill is leaving the apartment door of Gigi, there's no sparks, but it's good. It's fine, right? You discover love along the way, is that sort of vibe.
Yeah.
And as soon as he leaves and she shuts the door, there's a knock on the door. She opens the door and it's Justin Long.
Yeah.
Why didn't Bill and Justin Long see each other, say anything in the hallway, whatever?
Hey, I'm gonna just scoop you here. I'm just gonna cuck you real quick if you don't mind. Thanks. Okay, see you, dude.
But her point at the end there is like, why should I trust you? Why should I believe in you when I just had a perfectly fine date and I can see where it goes? He seems to be into it and wants to, do another date, and I believe him, and I don't have any reason to believe you. She's making good points here.
Yeah.
And then he interrupts her by just kissing her because it's the end of a romantic comedy. And we're meant to believe they are meant to be together.
Yeah, it's like making that. I feel like so often someone is saying a thing and then somebody kisses them is shorthand for like, you're just thinking about it too much. Just give in to feeling. But this is a case where it's like, no, you're thinking about it the right amount. Don't give in to feeling. This is not a good man. Yeah. You should stay well away from him.
Okay, and so now we're gonna wrap up each of these storylines, and I think we need to hold it to the thesis of the book and the movie.
Yeah,
which is, don't hold out for him. Don't wait because you're waiting for no reason. He's just not that into you. Move on.
Yes.
This movie then posits waiting for the guy who's telling you he's just not that into you. If you wait long enough, he will come around.
Yes.
So it completely undoes the thesis.
And, it's this real, I keep going back and forth. Which message is worse? Is the message worse that something is wrong with you, give up on this person because you're fucking broken and they won't like you? Or is the worst message the other one of like, no, hold out hope for the person who's in a relationship or who's told you they don't like you because they secretly do? Because that has fucked up a lot of times in my life in the past. So
absolutely.
I don't know. Like which one is hurting more people? The world may never know.
Yeah, and I'm surprised we got this far into the episode without actually saying the words "the exception" or "the rule," in that, you know, the idea being the Prince Charming syndrome is the exception. You hear all these stories, but they are the exceptions. They aren't the rule. You know, they aren't the rule of thumb. They aren't the you.
Yeah.
You aren't the exception.
Yeah.
But then this movie pivots at a certain point and just goes, but no, she is the exception.
Yeah.
If you hold out long enough, you will be the exception.
You've been the chosen one the entire time. Congratulations.
Okay. Is there a connection between romantic comedies and a film like The Matrix?
Oh, man. I mean, well, The Matrix is a love story because the Oracle told Trinity that she would fall in love and that the guy that she fell in love with would be the one. So that's how she knew that Neo was the one. Spoiler alert for a 26-year-old movie. Yeah, I mean, I think that any main character in a movie is ultimately the chosen one way or another.
Let's move on to Connor. How does his storyline end up?
Yeah, so Scarlett Johansson comes back to him post Bradley Cooper, and yeah, he tries to buy a house for him to live in and asks if she's into it and would want to move in with him, and she's like, you're a great guy, but I can't make that commitment to you right now. I don't know what I want, but I know it's not that. And God bless her. And they hug it out. And then we see a shot of her at the end at a nightclub singing. We don't hear her singing. This is much like the thing I keep coming back to, where we never see the dude bowling in The Big Lebowski. We are told that Scarlett Johansson is a musician and music is her passion.
Listen, Scarlett Johansson is a woman of many talents.
Yeah.
Have you heard her album?
She has an album? I've not heard her album. She has a nice voice for talking.
She has an album of Nico covers, and she sounds like Tom Waits.
Okay, well, Tom Waits has been successful. I thought the girls could do it too, y'all. Are you suggesting that's not the case?
I'm just saying, it's a choice, and I respect her for that. There's a reason she only did one album and that no one knows about it.
Yeah, but much in the same way there's a reason that Cyndi Lauper only made one movie and then went back to doing albums. That movie also directed by Ken Kwapis.
So, what happens with them?
What happens? Yeah, they split up, and then there's these kind of little weird interview segments at the end where she's talking about she's just going to be single for a while. She's going on a yoga retreat to India with a friend.
We should have also given you a 1 minute non-judgment on Scarlett Johansson, because I also asked about Connor, and you got blinders on for Scarlett Johansson.
Yes. Well, okay. I don't like Connor, and I do like Scarlett Johansson, both as an actress and as a human female. So yeah, Connor. He goes to he winds up he's at a restaurant, and throughout the movie, like 2 times, he's called Drew Barrymore, who works at the local gay newspaper, to put ads in the newspaper, and she's the media salesperson. But they've never met. But then she recognizes him from his ad at the restaurant and comes over and sits down across from him, and they're talking and they're hitting it off, and then they wind up being a couple. She says, like, as the camera's pulling away from them, there's something where he's like, "Oh, I'm kind of surprised," and she's like, "Oh, do I not look like my voice?" And he goes, "Yeah, but in a good way." And it's like, that seems kind of like a weird way to. Yeah, I don't.
It was a very weird way.
I don't like you, dude. I don't like you at all. But yeah, so he and Drew Barrymore get together.
Yep. Okay.
So how does that apply to she's not that into you, or he's just not that into you?
I don't think it's applicable.
I don't think it's really. He was into one girl, and now he's into another girl.
I think it's supposed to be like the positive version of once you, because he's inhabiting the it just wait it out kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And eventually lets go of Scarlett Johansson, and when he does, he finds the person he was meant to be with.
Yeah. Which
oddly is Scarlett Johansson's best friend in the movie, which doesn't seem to be acknowledged when they get together at the end there.
That's gonna be real weird down the line. This movie is setting up for actually a lot of better sequels once all of these people realize that they all kind of know each other's friends.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Ben and Janine, Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Connelly. What happens with them?
He has confessed to her at Home Depot that he slept with someone else. She does not really, she's definitely, upset by this news, but she doesn't ask who, she doesn't ask how many times or why or anything.
Yeah.
And she instead resolves, kind of against Bradley Cooper's wishes, to try and work it out. After the whole incident. I mean, like, what she does is, like, she surprises him at his office to try and have sex with him, inadvertently interrupting him having sex with Scarlett Johansson.
I was thinking more a moment at Home Depot where he says he's cheating on her and that he's already asked Ben Affleck if he could stay on his boat for a while. Sounds like a 13-year-old fantasy. But
Boat boys, literally.
Oh, fuck that. I knew we were going to float in that territory eventually. And she's like, wait, you we're separating? You don't want to stay and work this out? And he's like, well, I just thought you wouldn't want me around. And she asks him a question like, do you want to work this out? And I actually think in a really good performance, this moment of like this fleeting look goes over Bradley Cooper's face of like, yeah, of course I do.
Yeah.
But you could tell he's not sure himself.
Yeah.
That like maybe he did all of this because he wanted out of the relationship.
Yeah.
Again, things that the performers are bringing to it that would have been better served in a standalone movie. But
sure.
I think that is very important to the divorce part because it is ultimately, I think, what he wants.
Yeah.
And it becomes what she finds is best and most empowering for herself.
Yeah.
Is to, like, you're right. This shouldn't be together. You're just not that into me. Mm-hmm. You're just not into this marriage. Let's end it.
Yeah, because what ultimately happens, though, is that they're kind of trying to make things work, but unknown to Ginnifer Connelly, Scarlett Johansson is now split up with Bradley Cooper. And then Ginnifer Connelly comes home at one point to their newly renovated house, and then she finds a pack of cigarettes in Bradley Cooper's stuff after he has spent so much time denying that he has started smoking again, something that she's been pressing him on. And it's that realization
for next week.
That realization that he's lying leads her, he comes home and she has put all of his clothes neatly folded at the bottom of the stairs with a carton of cigarettes and a note saying, knock yourself out. And P.S. I want a divorce. So, yes, they get divorced. So, yeah, she has realized that he's not that into her, and it's not even through the lens of the infidelity, but the fact that he doesn't love her enough to tell the truth about what he's doing.
Or is it that she realizes she's not into him anymore? Because ultimately, I don't think it lands on him making a realization of what he wants.
No, he never realizes what he wants, and both of the women in his life realize that they are sick of his bullshit. Yes.
Yeah, so it is kind of a she's not that into you moment.
Yeah, I suppose so. If I can quickly go back to Scarlett Johansson without you giving me a look. No, I'm not even going to be weird. I'm not even being weird.
Look. No looks. You can't even see my eyes.
Yeah, peekaboo. She's in the closet. She hides in the closet when Ginnifer Connelly arrives to have sex, and she overhears them having sex. And then as soon as Ginnifer Connelly leaves, Scarlett Johansson comes out of the closet and is furious at him. It's like, you make me sick. I'm never going to see you again. I'm just not really sure what about that situation is so much more egregious than anything else he's been doing that she's been fine with. She's known, he's been like, I have a wife. I'm cheating on my wife with you right now.
I know.
I'm choosing to cheat on my wife with you, and she's okay with it. But then when she sees the sausage get made, so to speak, that's what's the red line?
I don't disagree with you. To me, but I wouldn't want to be stuck in a closet while the guy I'm, boning is boning his wife. That just seems like a traumatic situation.
I mean, but you were also saying that good-looking, horny people want to fuck. I don't know. I mean...
Well, but he's not even inviting her in to the menage a trois. He's not even opening the trois to the menage.
Okay, well, you know what? I've used up my 1 minute of being weird about actresses in this movie, so I'm not going to comment on that. But
I get her storming out, and I think that the fact that she never wanted to be with Bradley Cooper. She wanted to bone Bradley Cooper, and I think that is the long and short of her character. It doesn't do her much justice, but I think that's all she's really there to serve as.
I guess I just wish I'd seen more of the emotion of this playing out and her realizing, oh, what am I doing with this guy? Look how it was one thing I could justify this in my head when I wasn't seeing actually what's happening, but now that I see how terrible it is, I feel worse. Again, it's just, we don't get that. Scarlett Johansson's hot. She doesn't have a personality.
I also think she is just meant to be the other person in this storyline and not the protagonist. We're not supposed to see things through her perspective. She is written as a kind of male fantasy character.
Oh, yes.
And I it's taking the other woman quite literally. We don't get to see her motivations. We don't get to see that. She's just a disruption to the story of Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Connelly.
Yes, and I think that Anna as a character deserves better than that. Anyway, okay. So we agreed. So it's Jennifer Connelly is not that into Bradley Cooper.
I think so.
She's not that into him. So then who does that leave us with?
That leaves us with Beth and Neil, which is
Ben Affleck and
Jennifer Aniston and Ben Affleck, and we kind of touched on that one already. But
so he is that into her. He's so into her that he will marry her, although not, only after they've gone through some trials for no reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And that's essentially all of them. I mean, we didn't talk much about the individual friendships between people, but
okay, yeah. So occasionally, some of the actors in the movie would all show up on set on the same day to film 1 or 2 scenes together to imply
let's do this, because the movie. I mean, if there is a movie that not only fails the Bechdel test, it was the reason the Bechdel test was created.
Mm-hmm.
This movie has 0 conversations between characters, male or female, that isn't talking about the other gender.
Yeah.
But here's the codex to the friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Ginnifer Goodwin works with Jennifer Aniston and Jennifer Connelly at some
Cooking
publication
magazine.
Where they. Yeah,
it's
a blog, maybe, who knows?
It's Dazzle magazine, where from 6 Days 7 Nights.
6 Days 7 Nights. Yeah. Yes. Connor, Kevin Connelly, and Justin Long are roommates.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Though oddly, Connor is absent at the parties for some reason, because it would be weird if he was there with Ginnifer Goodwin, considering all the plot.
Yeah.
But they're roommates. Scarlett Johansson and Mary, Drew Barrymore, are best friends.
Yeah. Drew Barrymore, by the way, gives Scarlett Johansson the advice when she's first talking about Ben Affleck. It's Drew Barrymore's character who tells her, like, no, you should hold out for him. Like, I had this friend who, like, met a guy who's in a thing, and, like Drew Barrymore...
She gives the worst advice in this movie.
Terrible advice. She wrecks 2 people's lives with her off-the-cuff advice, and then she gets to go off with Connor and have a happy ending. Maybe you should have stayed on
Is it happy, though?
MySpace.
It's Connor.
It is, I mean...
It's Connor, though.
Yes, she's going to get involved with this guy and then realize that her best friend, like, he was obsessed with her. So, yeah, she'll get her just desserts in the next movie.
Then, Ben Affleck and Bradley Cooper are good friends. He's driving. He's waiting. Ben Affleck is waiting in the car while Bradley Cooper flirts with a woman. Truman, how would you feel if your good buddy made you wait in the car? Your good buddy who's married made you wait in the car while he flirted with someone outside a convenience store.
I mean, boy, yeah, well, on the one hand, there's a certain level of Neil Strauss bro code, like, you gotta help out, wingman. But then fuck that. Also, if it's my friend who was married and he's flirting with a woman, it's like, it's not my business, but, like, I feel like that could have been a good plot line in here, maybe in lieu of, like, some stand-up comic doing a 5-minute bit about voicemails, where it's like, Ben Affleck and Bradley Cooper, like, and Ben Affleck going like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you're married? I'm friends with your wife? What are you doing? Like,
and they even take the time for Ben Affleck to go, what was that all about? With, like, a grin on his face. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. It's just, I met a prospective client. He's like, oh, yeah, really? Was that a prospective client? He's like, yeah, don't worry about it. We're good. He's like, oh, are we? Okay. And then they drive off. And it's like, Ben, call that shit out. At the very least, he is a married man wasting your time.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you're not going to get upset about him, like, potentially setting up an affair, get upset about him making you wait in the car.
Yeah.
While he's doing something he shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, it's like, it's like, if you're going to cheat on your wife, shame on you. If you're not going to cheat on your wife, then you're just wasting my time. You're wasting that poor, beautiful woman's time. What's going on? Look, he's having that conversation with Scarlett Johansson, and he's like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I'm married. And she's like, oh, we can still be friends. He's like, yeah, you're right, but I'm married, and you're so beautiful. And then he gets into the car, and the camera pans over, and it's Ben Affleck. And for 1 second, my big dumb brain was like, are they married to each other? Are they gay? No, of course. I can't get anything good in the world.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That would...
Get a bisexual plot line
in your movie from 2009. Yeah. No, its understanding of technology is 10 years in the past, but its understanding of like human sexuality and orientation is 10 years in the future.
Make it more interesting.
I'd like it better.
Okay, those are all the friends. Those are all the plot lines wrapped up. Is there anything we didn't cover with this? I mean, I called it. I said this was gonna be a messy episode, and it was pretty goddamn messy.
This is a messy episode. I'm trying to. I don't know. I have thoughts about production design, but if you promise me we can talk a little about production design next week, or we can talk about it now.
Yeah, talk about production design because I want to talk about costumes.
Okay, great. So every single dwelling in this movie, everybody's house, you spend a lot of time in people's houses, they look like they live in IKEA displays. Jennifer
These are sitcom sets.
No, that's a huge burn on sitcom sets. As someone who watches a lot of sitcoms, the Big Bang Theory boys live in a much more well thought out and constructed and lived in space than any of these characters. Justin Long and Kevin Connolly, dude bro 20-something douchebags. These would be crypto bros if this movie was set in the present day. They live together in this. Their bachelor pad is spotless, exposed brick, leather furnishings. There is a credenza.
Let's not forget, this is the age of the metrosexual.
Yeah, these boys ain't that though. There would be if these guys were metrosexual, there would be a comedian doing a tight five to the camera about metrosexual guys. But there's a credenza in their house where on the credenza, leaning stylishly up against the exposed brick wall, is a framed black and white photograph of a rowboat. In your bro bachelor pad? What the fuck? Who are these guys? What? Yeah, dude, I just love looking at the boat and thinking about the endless possibilities that await me on the ocean. What?
Maybe it came furnished. He does work real estate and has to dress properties before selling them.
Why?
Maybe he's looked at one too many decorating magazines.
Why is there not? Well, by the logic of this movie, if you look at one too many decorating magazines, you turn gay. But why does their credenza not have a beer can on it? It's just everyone who lives in a spotless house that looks like it was staged for a real estate magazine.
Here's a question for you. So, they're all red brick places, essentially.
Yeah.
And I just assumed that was a feature of Baltimore, a place I've never been.
It is.
What are the chances it was one location where the downstairs is where Bradley Cooper and Ginnifer Connelly live, the loft is upstairs where Justin Long and Kevin Connolly live, and the corner of that loft is where Scarlett Johansson lives? I'm not saying in the world of the movie those characters all live together. I'm saying from a production design, we got one location, let's use it for 3 different locations.
Counterpoint, what if that was true to the reality of the movie, and you find out halfway through, and then suddenly it's this weird Synecdoche, New York situation where it's deeply surreal and you didn't even know it half the time. I mean, yeah, it does feel like they all kind of live in just different corners of the same blandly lit studio space.
Yeah. I agree with you. This is they did not spend the budget here.
No.
In this aspect.
No.
They raided the Warner Brothers prop, and set department, warehouses and just brought out whatever they could.
Now, do you think that they spent the budget on the costumes, since you seem to have opinions about that?
No, I just wanted to not in terms of budge. I want to talk about costumes in terms of characterization and in terms of I don't know where I fall on it. But I want to recognize Shea Cunliffe's challenge of how do you make a movie, one that is in the zeitgeist. This is meant to be a contemporary movie. Yeah. This is taking place now.
That's the intent. It's meant to be a contemporary movie about MySpace and business cards.
Yes. The intent is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
How do you do that while also not immediately dating yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And that seems like such a challenge. And I don't know why Ginnifer Goodwin and Justin Long's outfits stick out to me the most in this.
Yeah.
Justin Long's outfit never changes through this whole movie. It's basically a pair of black jeans, a gray shirt tucked in with a black belt, and a black tie.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like he runs a bar.
Yeah. A cool bar.
A cool bar.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it wasn't a skinny tie.
No.
Did she realize that was a passing fad? And was like, nope, we'll go with something a little more classic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somehow, in whatever alchemy she did with this, made it the most forgettable costuming I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's neither contemporary nor classic.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of sits outside of, like, anything.
Yeah.
It's so unremarkable. I guess I didn't mean to burn her exactly. I meant to acknowledge what she was up against more than, like, critique it, but it just where it landed is such a weird place to me.
Yeah, again, it's a difficult discussion because I feel like I was paying attention to some of the costumes, but then talking about that is again going to bring me into difficult territory in regards to which actors' costumes I was paying attention to and why.
Let's do a thought experiment real quick.
Okay.
Justin Long, because the costumes are supposed to complement or help accentuate characteristics, right?
Yeah.
Justin Long, we don't change the character,
yeah.
right? He is this guy who has this quote-unquote wisdom, lived experience by, operating this bar. He's seen it all.
At the age of, 26, he's seen it all.
He is dressed like a young professional, a young entrepreneur, but kind of on the hipper side.
Yeah.
Like, 5 years later, he'd be a Silicon Valley dude.
Yeah. The worst kind.
What if you don't change the dialogue, you don't change the character, you don't change anything, but you costume him in, like, a surfer shirt and, like, board shorts.
And checkered Vans.
Why not? What does that change?
Well, that makes that honestly that calls his credentials into question even more because now he doesn't look like a classy suave dude. He looks like kind of a Dell from Playmobil the movie type, and then it almost underlines in a way that like this guy the text of the movie is telling us this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and then it almost makes it better in that way.
Now, what if you go in the opposite direction and go more Patrick Bateman with it? You're talking about business cards.
Yeah.
He's dressed in a full suit. Suddenly, all his wisdom makes him look, just blatantly like a villain. We don't trust this guy.
I think that in 2009, when kind of How I Met Your Mother was rearing its head, I think the idea of a ladies' man wearing a suit at a bar was actually going to resonate with audiences as a good guy move, but sorry for partying.
As long as his tie is loosened.
Yeah,
right?
That's how you know he's having
You can't
a good
have
time.
Yeah. Anyway, we don't have to belabor the point anymore. I just the costuming really struck me in this one because it just seems like how do you dress this many characters in an ensemble piece and help it tell the story without it dating? Like, it just seems like an impossible challenge.
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge that I think other better movie. I think it all comes back down to there's never really a clear picture of who these characters are or what they want or what motivates them, and I feel like costume designers kind of work backwards from that to try and help convey those messages through costumes, but because that's not there, it's kind of just, I don't know, take my best guess, I don't know, what are the tightest jeans we can put on Scarlett Johansson? Sure, that'll do. It's a thankless job.
All right, I don't want to talk about that anymore. Is there anything else we didn't mention that you wanted to go into?
No, I think that we have talked about this movie for, slightly longer than the runtime of the movie. So, great, we've done it. We've been more insufferable than he's just not that into you.
Why was this movie forgotten?
This movie was forgotten because I think it's out here claiming to offer a bold new perspective on modern relationships, and then what it actually presents is a bunch of relationships that have all of the emotional depth and realism of a kid smashing a Barbie doll up against a G.I. Joe. It really just... It feels like it was written by middle schoolers who are kind of taking their best guess at what dating and relationships are like. So it doesn't really have a lot to offer people that's relatable to their own dating experiences, and it doesn't have a lot in it that's charming or endearing or makes you think back on it fondly.
Dust off your archaeology equipment. Because the reason this movie's forgotten is that it's an artifact. This is pop psychology for the aughts.
Yeah.
This is what was in the moment and over time shown to be problematic, shown to be not what we want to hold on to as a long-term codex for understanding relationships and our placement in society.
Yeah.
And once we realized, hey, maybe there's no value in this thing anymore, we just kind of forgot about it. I would say as a movie with so many characters and the conventions of the rom-com genre being like having someone you can live vicariously through or relate to, with this many characters, you don't get enough options to really have a catharsis with anybody, because you aren't given the time to really relate to anyone outside of just like, oh, I get what you're going for with that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think without an emotional resonance and just culturally going, I'm just not into this movie. I'm just not into this book. We decided we don't need it anymore.
Yeah. We do need to keep the title. We'll take that, the only core that was ever present for any of this stuff. We'll hold on to that and bludgeon ourselves with it internally for another decade or so, but the movie, no thanks.
No thank you. All right, well, should we send this back to modern memory or leave it forgotten out here in 2009 on the bar for the next person to find?
No, bartenders hate when you leave trash on the bar. You put that in a garbage can. This movie is a fun artifact in terms of looking back at what the technology and culture of the early 2000s was, or the late early 2000s. I don't know, fuck whatever year is. It's fun in that way, but it's not like something that we need to remember or look back on. All of these actors do a fine job in other movies, you can see that elsewhere. You can see them in other places. So I say leave it forgotten. What about you?
Despite my criticisms of this movie throughout this episode, this movie is way too fucking long. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes long.
Brutal.
It's too fucking long. Just way too long.
Fucking go to space jail.
I generally don't care about the length of movies if you can justify it. There's just too much going on and it's too long.
Yeah.
That said, it's enjoyable enough. Like, if you set aside the toxic nature of it, like, and you're just going in for a comfort movie that you don't have to think much about, like, the performances are good enough. The chemistry between the actors is good enough. It can serve a purpose. I don't think we need to remember it, but I'm not mad at this movie on a like entertainment level. If I do the work of separating out the toxic underbelly of it.
Wow. I wish I'd known that sooner so we could have argued about it more when we were fresher, because that's interesting. I think there is so little chemistry between the characters despite the actors' best efforts. I think there's more chemistry between Jennifer Connelly and Louise Guzman than there is between a lot of the couples in this movie. But maybe
you got two heavy hitters there.
I
can't. No one can match up to that.
I have crushes on both of those actors, so I guess it makes sense. But no, I mean, I don't even think it's good enough. I've seen bad romantic comedies that I think are much more pleasant than this one. But that's.
I guess what if I could just summarize, like, it's not a movie I would put on for comfort, but I would hold nothing against someone wanting to put this on as a romantic comedy comfort movie.
Sure. Yeah. Put it on in the background at a party with the sound off. I wouldn't do it, but if I went to someone's house and they did, fine. Why not?
All right, well, let's continue the loose ends next week. We'll meet you right back here for our mini episode, our mini transmission. For Truman Caps, I have been Landon Solano.
And for Landon Solano, I've been Truman Caps. Everybody stay faithful to your partners.
Whoa!
Movie Memory Machine is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. Join our Patreon at patreon.com/gruntworkpod to keep the machine running. Theme song by Porky's Groove Machine. Rate us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. For more information on today's show, visit moviememorymachine.com.